welcome to Namaste Web3, presented by Forbes India and Coindcx, supported by Bharat Web3 Association. With Namaste Web3, we focus on making India Web3 ready. I'm your host for the evening, Mugdha Kalra, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all. It's lovely to see so many of you from Jaipur here and attending this summit. From its rich cultural heritage to its rapidly expanding technological landscape, well, your city, Jaipur's transformation is a testament to its resilience and forward-thinking spirit. Our earlier events in Ahmedabad, Pune, Bengaluru, Delhi, and Hyderabad got together the industry leaders and policymakers on the same platform. And in today's Namaste Web3 Jaipur chapter, we are hoping to take this movement forward, take a step ahead, and harness the power of blockchain to unlock new opportunities across various sectors. During the event tonight, we will explore synergy of blockchain, technology, and real-world applications, with the aim to drive Web3 adoption, foster innovation, and shape a decentralized and transparent future. We hope to have great conversations and look for solutions as well. We have a fantastic lineup of guest speakers this evening who will shed light on the transformative potential of blockchain technology. Before we begin the proceedings for the evening, we have a brief announcement. We have created a Telegram channel called Namaste Web3, where we will keep the dialogue on and we'll keep updating you about the subsequent chapters. We would like you to scan the QR code and join the channel. You can lift your phones up and scan this code and join this particular movement with us. And before we move ahead, I would also like to tell you that we'll be flashing that QR code a few times. So those of you who have missed it, you'll have the opportunity to scan it once again. But before we move ahead, let's take a look at the Namaste Web3 journey so far.
The latest innovation in the internet space, Web3, is a revolutionary technology that is changing the way we interact online. It offers more secure, transparent, and efficient decentralized applications that have the potential to transform various industries. Coindcx and Forbes India designed Namaste Web3 to introduce the potential of Web3 across India and showcase its benefits.
India's presidency of the G20 comes at a very opportune time. In recent years, particularly since the pandemic, the image of India has dramatically changed around the world.
Take it to every corner of the country, because that's where the magic happens.
What binds us all, what binds all of us into one, is the common challenges that we have in front of us.
India has phenomenal developers and builders in the Web3 space. Go-to-market from India can be a little bit of a challenge. Even Web2 companies being built out of India, solving for the world, did have their fair share of challenges.
The industry's response to this framework is very, very positive. In fact, people have kind of started lining up in offering solutions, in offering partnership, in offering skills. Skilling is again an area where we seek partnership and support.
This initiative will travel to major cities across India to hold a wide range of future-forward discussions around the innovation and how it can aid business growth in various sectors. It has already been successful in different cities: Bengaluru, New Delhi, Pune, Ahmedabad, and Hyderabad, where experts and industry leaders discussed various aspects of Web3.
Where individuals will have control. A developer base of approximately 2.8, just under 3 million 2 years ago. It is also projected to have the most developers by 2023.
Blockchain technology expected to go from 3 billion in 2020 to about 39.7 billion by 2025. AI market 190.6 billion by 2025, growing at nearly 40% CAGR.
Including DeFi, Metaverse, DApp development, empowering developers. The role of Web3 in India's tech capability and fulfilling the $5 trillion economy vision. Ideas were also exchanged on leveraging India's G20 presidency to develop VDA regulatory principles. But this is just the beginning. More insightful conversations await in different cities. Join us at Namaste Web3 and be a part of the future of the Internet.
Oh, well, there's just so much to be done, but I can tell you one thing.
Web3 and be a part of the future of the Internet.
Oh, well, there's just so much to be done, but I can tell you one thing.
Web3 and be a part of the future of the Internet.
Oh, well, there's just so much to be done, but I can tell you one thing.
Web3 and be a part of the future of the Internet.
All right, we still can have a great round of applause. All right, may I now invite Manisha Gupta, Editor Commodities and Currency Network 18, to deliver the welcome address.
And I can tell you is where it got stuck. Maybe you should start with that. Mugdha, thank you so much for that. And thank you, Jaipur. It's amazing to be here. Hello and very warm welcome to Namaste Web3 Jaipur edition. As Mugdha said, our earlier events in Pune, Bengaluru, Ahmedabad and Delhi got together the creators, industry leaders, policymakers and some of the ministers as well on same platform. In Jaipur, the pink city today, let's take a step ahead and converse about the revolution that Web3 can bring upon us and offer new financial opportunities globally, enhance transparency and traceability in supply chains, and also in skills and expertise. Rajasthan has been making big strides, and we will soon have a conversation on that as well, on initiatives to promote Web3 ecosystem for the state. The other area that we will dwell deeper into today is going to be NFT, or non-fungible tokens, where the market has matured after that initial hype which led to celebs and sports people coming in. Now it's more about utility-based. India now has many NFT platforms, artists, clubs even, and the blockchain-based connectivity and interactivity are already gaining momentum, as many are experimenting with both public and private chains. Well, as said, during the event today, we will explore new developments, innovations, emerging, as also the success stories and the changing dynamics in many sectors. We hope to have great conversations and look for solutions with you here today at Namaste Web3, making India Web3 ready.
Thank you, Manisha. Thank you so much for setting the tone for the evening. Well, in this ever-evolving digital landscape, blockchain technology has emerged as a transformative force, revolutionizing industries and redefining the way we conduct business. Today, we have the opportunity to learn from the experiences of one such person who has successfully implemented blockchain solutions. Now it's time to listen to Ms. Vinita Srivastava, a dynamic individual who holds the distinguished position of the Joint Director at the Department of IT and Communication and Deputy General Manager at Rajiv Gandhi Centre of Advanced Technology. With a rich blend of expertise and leadership, Vinita Srivastava is at the forefront of driving innovation and advancement in the fields of IT and technology. Without further ado, I would like to invite Ms. Srivastava here for her keynote address.
Thank you, Forbes. Thank you, Coindcx, giving me this opportunity to be here. Thank you to all beautiful, bright faces to listen me here. So we are here to talk about Namaste Web3. So before talking about Namaste or welcoming Web3, let's go back and talk about Web 1 and 2 and have a small journey of it. How many of you are from engineering background? Oh, beautiful. Everybody have studied Tannenbaum with ARPANET to be deployed in US. Yeah, that's the time when the wires and servers made us talk to each other in front of them. And that is the time when we were just thinking about having the real internet. I'm sorry, am I loud? The real internet came in 1919, where we have the URL and the browsers. Let us just assume that that time was the read-only environment, where we have the web, where we can only read. But then the time which we have now, which is very interactive, which is now very much, social media is the key feature of it. Now you can put content, you can put your comments on it, you can learn, you can search, you can communicate. This is Web 2.0, where we're living right now. It is just not about reading, it is about writing also. But then we realize that our personal data has somewhere be compromised, and the target ads are coming to us. And then we are saying that our privacy is somewhere hurt. And then we come up with the encrypted wallet, which says that your online login would be encrypted. You have that privilege that which all sites that you want to go on. You have the privilege that what all ad can come to you. This is the time when we actually think that the whole server and the information is not at just one centralized location, it is decentralized. You have the power to vote on the decisions whether to have this information or not. That time you understand that you are not the product, you are the owner. And then that's the time we are saying that we are welcoming Web3. This is the time that we are not only reading it, writing it, we are owning our own web. So this is the time that we all need to welcome. So we all know that we are working on the cryptocurrency where we have decentralized, not controlled by any particular central institution, where the transactions are not tempered, they are transparent, they are immutable, and that's the time that we were thinking of an economy which would work for us, and we are entering into that world. And since we are from Jaipur, we all know that we have creative people, we have artworks here, we have non-fungible asset here, and we want that our owners have their own ownership, they have their own deeds. When they go to their market, they go to their community, they have that power that they can sell their self itself. And that is the time when we have NFT come to the picture. And this all come when we have blockchain as a platform here, right? So that's the reason that we have the blockchain, and government of Rajasthan has taken really a stride towards blockchain development here in the ecosystem. Really? एक डेफिनेशन ब्लॉकचेन का इंग्लिश में बोल के फिर हिंदी में बोलती हूँ, ठीक है? और मैं आपको आगे इस बात का एकदम यकीन दिलाती हूँ कि आपको मेरा ये पूरा सुनने में बहुत मजा भी आएगा, ठीक है? So let's start. Blockchain technology harnesses the distributed software architecture. It provides a shared ledger with a single source of truth for the recorded transaction without depending on centralized entity for trust. And here we will talk how the blockchain would add value to the e-governance domain. Can we start here? Now that कि मुझे सिर्फ एक इंग्लिश में ये ही आता था, let's start with the Hindi. So we all think, am I audible? Yeah. So हमने सोचा कि हमें ब्लॉकचेन को अपने गवर्नमेंट इकोसिस्टम में लेके आना है, और अपने गवर्नमेंट इकोसिस्टम में लाने के लिए हमारे गवर्नमेंट ने, दैट मीन्स गवर्नमेंट ऑफ राजस्थान, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने ब्लॉकचेन सीओई के लिए ऑलरेडी घोषणा बजट 2023 में कर दी है. और सीओई में हम क्या करने वाले हैं? पहली चीज, वी विल फाइंड दैट वी हैव टू हैव द अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम. हम सबको पता होना चाहिए कि ब्लॉकचेन है क्या. पता है हमें? यूट्यूब से पता है, राइट? बट बाकी नहीं पता, मुझे भी नहीं पता था. मैंने भी यहाँ आने से पहले बहुत पढ़ाई की, तो आई एम श्योर आप लोगों ने भी की होगी, राइट? तो ब्लॉकचेन के सबसे पहले हमारे सारे गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स, हमारे स्टूडेंट्स, यूथ, हमारी एमएसएमई और स्टार्टअप, इन सबको हमें ब्लॉकचेन के ऊपर अवेयरनेस देना बहुत जरूरी है. हाउ द Web3 इज एक्चुअली coming to us and we need to adapt it into our daily routine in the sense our e-governance process. E-governance के process में हम blockchain को कैसे लाएं? That is the reason blockchain COE बहुत ही जल्दी हमारे राजस्थान में establish होने वाला है. Enjoying it? Have a clap for us. कुछ ऐसे यूज केसेस हैं जिसको हमने अभी ही अडाप्ट करने की कोशिश की है, जिसमें हम ब्लॉकचेन डालेंगे, जैसे लैंड रिकॉर्ड का बहुत बड़ा डेटा हमारे पास है. वी वांट कि ब्लॉकचेन उसमें इंट्रोड्यूस हो. हमारे जो हमारे लैंड रिकॉर्ड के यूजर्स हैं उनको उनकी इंफॉर्मेशन मिले, वो टेम्पर ना हो किसी से भी, चाहे वो ऑफिशियल हो या नॉन ऑफिशियल हो, कोई भी इस इंफॉर्मेशन को लेके मिसलीड ना करे. इसलिए लैंड रिकॉर्ड में, मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज में, फाइनेंस में, एजुकेशन सेक्टर में ब्लॉकचेन को एज अ पायलट हम बहुत ही जल्दी इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे. लेट्स नाउ टॉक अबाउट, नाउ दैट यू नो अबाउट ब्लॉकचेन और हमें हिंदी में ही बात करनी है, तो अब एक बार हम बहुत ही जर्नी अपनी पूरी करते हैं कि राजस्थान में इतना कुछ टेक्नोलॉजी में क्या क्या हो चुका है. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इट नाउ. हम मिशन 2030 पे भी आएंगे. 1980 में एक डेमोग्राफर हुए आशीष बोस, उन्होंने एक टर्म कॉइन किया जिसका नाम था बीमारू, एंड राजस्थान वाज वन ऑफ दोज. व्हाई? बिकॉज ऑफ पुअर सोशियो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट. हमारे सामाजिक और हमारे आर्थिक स्थिति में कुछ ऐसे पैरामीटर्स थे जो बहुत ही लो थे, एंड दैट इज द रीजन दैट वी हैव स्टार्टेड कमिंग इनटू दैट कैटेगरी कॉल्ड बीमारू राजस्थान, राइट? उस बीमारू 1980 से टिल टुडे हमने क्या कुछ अचीव कर लिया, इसकी एक छोटी सी जर्नी देते हैं, एंड आई एम श्योर आप सब लोगों को बहुत अच्छा लगेगा. सो आई एम गोइंग क्विकली टू दैट स्लाइड वेयर वी हैव ऑल द प्रोजेक्ट्स एंड इनिशिएटिव्स स्पेसिफिकली इनटू द टेक्नोलॉजी. These are the projects that we are talking about. This infrastructure, digital infrastructure, आपको ये जान के बहुत खुशी होगी. 2002 में हमने जब पहला डेटा सेंटर सेटअप किया था, we had only 25 rack of data center. 2011 में जब हमने दूसरा डेटा सेंटर सेटअप किया, we have 42 rack of data center. 2016 में हमने तीसरा किया, जो पहला वाला किया था उसी को हमने enhance करके 280 कर दिया. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be happy to know that now we have the world-class, state-of-the-art data center, Tier 4-3 with 600 plus rack. Now we are giving this service to all the MSMEs, startups, all the industry boards, commissions, that you can come and have and take the service of cloud service from us. राजनेट एंड राजवीसी आर दी प्रोजेक्ट्स जिसकी वजह से हमारा नेटवर्क केवल हमारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स, ब्लॉक्स या फिर ब्लॉक्स तक ही नहीं है, इट हैज एक्चुअली ग्रोन टू ऑल विलेजेस. हमारी धाणियां भी हमसे इंक्लूडेड है. ड्यूरिंग कोविड जब आप सोशल नेटवर्क पे काम कर रहे थे, social distancing, I'm sorry. When we were working on this social distancing, then this is the time when Raj VC worked, और हमने यहाँ से बैठ के अपने सारी धानियों, अपने सारी गाँव के साथ कनेक्ट किया और हमने सारा काम किया. So राजनेट और नाज VC आज हमारे पूरे राजस्थान को कनेक्ट किया हुआ है. अब एक कमांड सेंटर, आपने अभी भी सुना होगा कि हमारे सारे पूरे राज्य में कैमरेज लगे हुए हैं. 10,000 से ज्यादा कैमरे लगे हुए हैं. हमारा 100+ नंबर इनके थ्रू कंप्यूटर एडेड उससे काम कर रहा है. हमारे जो जितने भी हमारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं वो सारे अपने डिजिटल सर्विलेंस के अंदर में आ रहे हैं. तो अभय कमांड सेंटर हैज गॉन टू दिस लेवल ऑफ प्रोटेक्शन एंड सिक्योरिटी फॉर द स्टेट. Now we'll come about the citizen interface applications. Citizen interface application where Janadhar is the, I'm sure that you all know about Janadhar. सबके पास Janadhar है? All of you have Janadhar? Janadhar is the card which is given to a family and the head of the family is the women of the family. All the facility, all the DBT is all given to the mobile number of or the account number of the women of the family. Janadhar mein we have approximately 1.9 crores families registered till now. And the kind of DBT that we have done is around 61,000 crores. E-Mitra, how many of you have gone to E-Mitra and taken some service there? Oh, amazing. E-Mitra, आपको पता है कब start हुआ था? 2002 में. And when we started E-Mitra, it was known as a Lok Mitra. It started with only 2 services, बिजली का बिल देना और पानी का बिल देना. Today we have 80,000 plus E-Mitras across the state, including 600 plus services, whether it is G2C or B2C. Right? So this is the network that we have given across the state. We have digitalized not only our city, tier 1, tier 2 cities. We have gone through to the blocks, to the dhanya, to the village. All the services, whether it is related to आपकी recruitment हो या आपको कोई information लेनी हो, आप आराम से इन मित्रा में जाकर के information लिखते हैं. Now it is on mobile also, on internet also, and we have self-working e-mitra kiosk also. राजस्थान संपर्क, कितने लोगों ने राजस्थान संपर्क यूज किया है? वेरी फ्यू. ओके. राजस्थान संपर्क इज 181. इट्स अ ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल पोर्टल. आपको ये जान के खुशी होगी the number, the percentage of redressal of grievances जो आपने शिकायतें की हैं उनका हल 98.8% सॉल्व कर दिया जाता है जो भी संपर्क पे आता है on this portal, either by calling 181 or by giving on the online portal on the Rajasthan Sampark. Now we have Raj Kisan Sathi. I don't know how many of you from the farmers background, but आज Raj Kisan Sathi एक one stop platform है जहां पे हमारे 60 लाख से भी ज्यादा फार्मर्स रजिस्टर्ड हैं. जितनी फैसिलिटीज आप देते हैं, चाहे वो डायरेक्ट डीबीटी की हो, सब्सिडी की हो, दिस इज ऑल गिवन टू देम थ्रू दिस पोर्टल. वन स्टॉप सोल्यूशन जहां पे जितनी भी हम चाहे मिनी किट देना हो, सीड्स के, पेस्टिसाइड्स के लाइसेंस देने हो या फर्टिलाइजर्स के देने हो, दिस ऑल बीन डन बाय राज किसान साथी टू अस. जन सूचना, आपको पता है कि हमारी एक सार्वजनिक जवाबदेही कानून है, पता है? उस कानून में हमें ट्रांसपेरेंसी रखने के लिए अपनी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन एक पोर्टल के थ्रू अपने सारे इंफॉर्मेशन हम देते हैं. तो अभी एट प्रेजेंट 715 information are there and 115 departments are onboarded on this platform. We'll talk about common platform, ई-संचार. आप सबको सरकार की तरफ से मैसेज आ चुका है? कभी मैसेज आता है? That message is through ई-संचार. We can send message on a click to 7 crore citizens of Rajasthan through ई-संचार. And we have now also have done the integration with WhatsApp. राज SSO, I'm sure यहाँ सबके पास अपना SSO होगा. कितने लोगों ने नौकरी भरी अपनी? सबके पास SSO है. अब इसके बाद में जब RCAT की बात करूंगी और when we'll talk about कि RCAT में हमें स्कॉलरशिप मिलता है, SSO नहीं है तो स्कॉलरशिप नहीं है, SSO नहीं है तो आपको कोई स्कीम का फायदा नहीं है. आपको SSO रखना इस बहुत जरूरी है. ठीक है? So this is the single sign-on through which you will have access to all of your services which is given by the government to you. And there are services which are given G2G, which is government to government. These all services are also there on the SSO. Let's talk about the office automation, राजकाज. कितने लोगों ने पता है कि राजकाज हमारे यहाँ हमारे ऑफिस के काम को करने के लिए इम्प्लीमेंट किया गया है? These all are the government people. So Rajkaj was also one of the question in exam which was asked in West Bengal government that who is implementing Rajkaj, and then the Rajasthan was the answer to it. Rajkaj is implemented for the paperless office work. Today, all of our departments are onboarded on this portal. हमारे सारे के सारे department इसके ऊपर onboarded हैं. कोई फाइल नहीं चलती अब हमारे यहाँ. सारी फाइल कैसे चलती है? Digitally. कैसे चलती है? That's nice. हमारी सारी फाइल अब digitally चलती है. हमें छुट्टी लेनी होती है, हम लिखते नहीं हैं. हम इस पे अप्लाई करते हैं. हमें अपना असेसमेंट भरना होता है, हम लिखते नहीं हैं. हम इस पे 360 डिग्री इस पे अप्लाई करते हैं. हमें अपना प्रॉपर्टी का सारा डिटेल बनाना होता है, हम किस पे लिखते हैं? We'll do it on Rajkaj. So we are implementing paperless office through Rajkaj. Now, what is RTI? Since RTI has been come to our national level policy, then we need to implement this RTI portal where all of our RTI application, जितनी भी RTI application है वो यहाँ पे registered होती है, and then there is a timeline to get it resolved. उन सबका निस्तारण इस RTI portal से ही किया जाता है. Wildlife surveillance हमारे यहाँ how many तो नहीं कहूँगी, फिर भी कुछ नाम बताइए. हाँ, आप कितने फॉरेस्ट सर्विलेंस जहाँ पे हमें वाइल्ड लाइफ के ऊपर हमें वाइल्ड लाइफ सर्विलेंस की जरूरत है, लाइक रणथंबोर या झालाना, there we have this wildlife surveillance where we have these cameras installed, and we can see that the poaching is not happening. We can see that there is no intrusion happening. Our wildlife is not affected by anything, and this has happened of all of our wildlife reservoir. Now we'll talk about this, the capacity building and entrepreneurship. ये पूरा आपके लिए है, ये पूरा यूथ के लिए है. कितनों को पता है कि हमारे स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम को आई स्टार्ट कहा जाता है? कितनों का अपना स्टार्टअप है? आप सब रजिस्टर्ड हैं, अप्रूव्ड है, कभी फंडिंग के लिए अप्लाई किया? इंक्यूबेटेड कितने हैं? ऑल 3, ओनली 3. ओके. So we are giving incubation center. We have incubation center of around 500-seater incubation center, BTH, which is Bhamasha Techno Hub in Jaipur. And the best part of it that it is there is no fees for sitting in that. There's no fees for using the systems there. We are giving free internet and we are giving free space. We have around 3,000 startups registered on our iStart portal. It is a one-stop portal where we have everything. We have funding, we have mentoring, we have rural startup registered here, we have school startup registered here. It's a very matured ecosystem which is already being done in iStart portal. Women iStart को क्या नया या कितना ज़्यादा हम उन्हें सपोर्ट करते हैं, इसका किसी को कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन है? If you have the iStarts people here sitting here, so when we have the prototype funding that we are giving to the startups, we are giving 20% more to the women startup. Everywhere where we have, suppose 5, we can do the procurement, government procurement to the startups through our e-bazaar portal. There, if it is 5 work orders that we can give to the women startup, it is for 6 for the women startups. So this is what happening with the iStart portal. Now we'll talk about RCAT. कितनों ने RCAT देखा है? एक ही दो ने देखा है क्या? आपको पता है राजीव गांधी सेंटर ऑफ एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी अभी कहाँ है? जयपुर में, SMS के सामने. यस. ये कब लॉन्च किया गया था? हाँ, 1 साल हो गया. वेरी गुड. कब हुआ? अभी 20th अगस्त को हुआ. So we celebrated our first anniversary on 20th August this year, and we've completed 1 whole year since launching by our Honorable Chief Minister. RCAT का full form बताइए. Anybody? राजीव गांधी सेंटर ऑफ एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी, मोबाइल पे देख लिया है नो? अच्छा, you know. Rajiv Gandhi Centre of Advanced Technology. Rajiv Gandhi Centre of Advanced Technology was established with the objective that the youth of our state should have the technical well-being, should have the technology expert, so that they can not only go into the entrepreneurship, successful entrepreneurship, also they become employable and they also add value to the whole ecosystem. And this is the reason that we have founded RCAT. RCAT आज की डेट पे कम से कम 1000 बच्चों को, 1000 बच्चों को स्किल कर चुका है, जिसके बाद around 90% placement उन बच्चों की हो चुकी है who have certified their certification, global certification. RCAT में we are actually giving the globally relevant courses, globally recognized courses in all emerging technology, start from data science to AI/ML to designing to IoT, computer on board to embedded system, robotics. और आज हमारे पास 11 वर्ल्ड की सर्वश्रेष्ठ कंपनियां हमारी पार्टनर हैं, जिसमें Adobe, Microsoft, Apple, SAS, VMware, you name it, I think we have it, or we'll have it, we will have it. रियाल राजस्थान इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ एडवांस लर्निंग जो बहुत ही जल्दी जयपुर में स्टैब्लिश किया जाने वाला है, ये बेसिकली लर्निंग और डेवलपमेंट के लिए होगा, where we will have our MSMEs, researchers, startups can come, they can do their research here. यहाँ पे आकर के वो अपने प्रोटोटाइप बना सकते हैं, उस पर रिसर्च कर सकते हैं, हमारे मेंटर्स यहाँ पे रहेंगे, उनको सपोर्ट करेंगे 24/7, और हमारी कंपनीज भी उन्हें सपोर्ट करेंगी if they need a prototype to be developed furthermore. राजस्थान हमेशा से फाइनेंशियल डोमेन में बहुत आगे रहा है. राजस्थान में से सबसे ज़्यादा CEO और CS निकलते हैं. Now that we know that Rajasthan is the pioneer in financial domain that we want, then we realize that we should also add technology into the financial domain. And that is the reason that we are going to establish Rajiv Gandhi Fintech Digital University in Jaipur soon. These are the COEs that we are going to implement soon. Blockchain, जिसकी मैं आपसे बात कर चुकी हूँ, cyber security, innovation hub, biotechnology COE and agritech COE. इन सब के ऊपर हमारी COEs बहुत ही जल्दी और launch बनेगी भी, establish भी होगी और launch भी होने वाली है. The process has already been started. So these are the projects that I am sure कि आप लोग को सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगा होगा, और इससे ये पता लगा कि how digitally we have actually come a trajectory progression till date, since 1980 till date. क्या? Yeah, please.
So yeah, one of the questions is on the broader Web3 vision and how is RCAT aligned with its initiative with this vision?
Yeah, of course, from Web3 vision, we have, as I told you that, जैसे मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया है कि हमने विश्व स्तरीय कंपनियों के साथ MOU किया हुआ है, जिसमें बहुत अच्छी कंपनियां जैसे Adobe या Apple, Microsoft, Oracle, Google, they all, and Google certification is also there with us. तो ये सारी जो कंपनियों इनके साथ हमने काम करके we are trying to build an ecosystem between academia and industry, right, so that जो हमारा youth है जो academia से निकल रहा है, it should be technically equipped when they come to the industry. They can work there with the Web3 technologies. Okay. And that is the reason that we all are working towards and strive towards the emerging technologies and advanced technology in our ecosystem.
All right. The other question is around the increased need of skilled manpower, and can you shed light on the initiatives in education and training? I think a lot of them would be also interested in that.
The need of skilled manpower is very important when we so it is very important when we come to the point of economy, socio and economy development, where we need people to work on the technology. We need them to be added into our process, specifically into government processes, and there we can give the effective and efficient service delivery to the citizen. So this is very important that our youth is equipped with the knowledge, with the accessibility to all of our schemes and to all of our, of course, the technology. And everything, whether it is schemes or technology or something, it should be affordable. Learning should be affordable for them. And this is the reason that, you know, the RCAD or the other capacity building initiatives have taken by the government.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Well, I do have not many questions, but I think the panels coming up next will be able to address them for us as well. Thank you so much for that very insightful presentation, ma'am. And with that, let's start with the panel discussions. This evening, we have for you 3 panel discussions where industry leaders will delve into the potential of blockchain. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed to our first panel discussion, a quick announcement regarding Coindcx's initiative. Coindcx, one of the leading Web3 players in India, is organizing the biggest Web3 event of the year, which is called Unfold 23. And Unfold 23 is a global event aimed at promoting blockchain, Web3, and the crypto ecosystem among investors, developers, and blockchain enthusiasts. It was launched in 2022. The event was a massive success back then as well, with top industry experts and speakers like Balaji Srinivasan, Sandeep Nelwal, Shailesh Lakhani, and Hemant Mahapatra sharing their insights. And this year again, Unfold 23 is expected to be bigger and better. The event will feature world's largest multi-chain, multi-protocol hackathon with over 1,000 developers. Additionally, there will be over 100 booths highlighting various products and projects. I can go on and on about this, but I don't have enough time before the panel comes in. So mark your calendars, and we will also be flashing a QR code for you to get significant discounts and entry to the most significant and premier Web3 event of the year. All right. Now, without further ado, all about Unfold 3. All right. Yes, we can give that a huge round of applause. Scan the QR code to pre-register for the Unfold 2023 event and get exclusive discounted early bird access. Does that work for you? Yeah? All right, great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for the first panel discussion titled Web3, Exciting Things on the Horizon. Today, we find ourselves on the brink of new era in the world of internet, one that stands apart from what we know today. This phase, referred to as Web3, marks a shift towards decentralized internet driven by the power of blockchain and NFTs. These innovations are reshaping the very essence of how we engage in the digital realm. To discuss this and more, may I please invite Manisha Gupta back on the stage to moderate the session. And joining Manisha, her fellow panelists, put your hands together for Pranav Kaushik, Partner Digital Transformation, Grant Thornton Digital, Dilip Shanoy, Chairman, Bharat Web3 Association, Gaurav Arora, Head DeFi Initiatives, Coindcx, and of course, Manisha.
Thank you, Mugdha. बेसिकली विनीता जी ने हमें इतने सारे डिटेल्स दिए हैं कि राजस्थान में क्या क्या हो रहा है, और जब हमारा थीम है कि व्हाट आर द एक्साइटिंग थिंग्स ऑन होराइजन फॉर Web3, आई एम श्योर दिस इज एन एरिया व्हिच नेवर गेट्स टायर्ड. देयर इज ऑलवेज समथिंग न्यू हैपनिंग हियर, एंड दैट्स एग्जैक्टली व्हाट वी विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट फ्रॉम आवर पैनलिस्ट हियर. Thank you so much for joining us. Dilip ji, first to you then. And there's just so much happening in this space. What do you see, how do you see traditional businesses to begin with start acquiring, onboarding Web3 right now?
Thank you, Manisha. पहले आप सबको इतना हॉल भरा हुआ हॉल देख करके और इतना इंटरेक्टिव ऑडियंस देख करके बहुत ही खुशी हो रही है, और मेरे को जयपुर में वापस आने का और बेहद खुशी हो. शायद आपको पता नहीं है कि मैंने यहीं मालवीय इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया में पहली नौकरी की थी. मैं एक छोटे से कंपनी में केमिस्ट था, और उस टाइम 84 में यहाँ पे एशियन गेम्स हुए थे. आपको पता नहीं होगा, मेनी ऑफ यू वुड नॉट इवन बीन बोर्न एट दैट टाइम. तो मुझे हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट पे जाने का एक तरीके से एक्सपीरियंस हुआ था. उस टाइम ना तो इंटरनेट था ना मोबाइल फ़ोन था, और उसके अंदर तो आज इंटरनेट आया है, मोबाइल फ़ोन आया है, और ऐसा विनीता जी से आपने देखा कि क्या क्या तरक्की की है राजस्थान में आईटी में. और जो सबसे बड़ा, जो मनीषा ने जो सवाल बोला था, सबसे एक्साइटिंग है. आपको Y2K पता है सब लोगों को? Y2K क्या था? अच्छा, बहुत कम लोगों को पता है, क्योंकि Y2K एक टाइम हुआ था, एक कंप्यूटर कोडिंग हमने किया था, जो वहाँ पे कोडिंग किया था 2 डिजिट्स में किया था. जो जब 2000 में 00 आ रहा था, तो सबको ये आशंका, ये परेशानी हो रही थी कि ये सारे कंप्यूटर्स 1900 में चले जाएंगे और सारे कंप्यूटर्स को रीप्रोग्राम करना पड़ेगा. फिर आपको 2D 3D तो पता ही होगा. जो 2D से 3D में सारे जो हमने मूवीज ट्रांसफॉर्म किए थे ना, वो भारत में किए थे. Y2K का सोल्यूशन भी भारत ही निकाला था. अब जो Web 2 की दुनिया में, Web 2 की दुनिया में जो सारे हमारे एप्लीकेशंस बना है, और जो विनीता जी ने आपको बताया है, वो सारे Web 2 के एप्लीकेशंस हैं. उनको Web 3 के एप्लीकेशंस में ट्रांसफॉर्म करना, वो अपॉर्चुनिटी आप लोगों के सामने है. और उन्होंने जो सब नाम लिए थे, होपफुली 6-7 साल बाद जब अगर इसी हॉल में वो एक प्रेजेंटेशन करेंगे, तो वो कहेंगे हाँ, ये जो इंडियन कंपनीज है ना Web 3 में, इंडियन नाम लेंगे. अभी जो Web 3 है, और जैसे Coindcx से भी आपने देखा होगा उनकी वीडियो को, वो भी स्टार्टअप फंडिंग कर रहे हैं. तो उनके भी कंपनीज, और यहाँ पे उनके एक एक्चुअली स्टार्टअप, एक वॉलेट स्टार्टअप है. तो वो Web 3 में हमारी जो एक आशंका है, एक विजन है, एक सोच है, एक एस्पिरेशन है. आज के जो हफ्ते में हम चांद पे भी पहुंच गए हैं, तो क्यों ना इंडिया एक लीडर हो Web 3 स्पेस में, और इंडियन कंपनीज उभर के आए. तो दैट्स व्हाट आई सी द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन दैट कुड एक्चुअली हैपन. और जो टैलेंट है इंडिया का, जो अगर नास्कॉम का रिपोर्ट देखें तो 11% जो टोटल ग्लोबल वर्कफोर्स है वो इंडिया में है. अगर आप जैसे और भी बढ़कर 10 कंपनियां, मैं किसी से बात कर रहा था, यूनिकोर एक कंपनी है जो ऑडियंस में बैठी हुई है, उनसे मैं बात कर रहा था, कह रहे जयपुर में 10 कंपनियां हैं जो ब्लॉकचेन डेवलपमेंट करते हैं. मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था. मेरे ख्याल अगर उनको भी नहीं पता होगा, मेरे ख्याल अगर हम ऑडियंस में देखें तो ज्यादा होंगे. तो 10 से हम 100 कर सकते हैं, 100 से करीब ज्यादा भी कर सकते हैं. और हम इस जो समय में आए ना, हम तकदीर हाथ में लिख के नहीं आए, हम खुद अपने दिमाग और हाथ से तकदीर बदलेंगे. राजस्थान के भी बदलेंगे, अपना भी बदलेंगे, और देश का भी बदलेंगे.
Oh well, absolutely. Actually, you know, Gaurav and Dilip ji, I have to tell you this. जब हमने नमस्ते Web3 करना शुरू किया था, तो हम हैदराबाद और बैंगलोर तो गए, तो हमें पता था कि ये तो वैसे भी ब्लॉकचेन क्रिएटर्स, डेवलपर्स वहाँ पर बहुत सारे हैं. दिल्ली हम गए, and we were like, अच्छा कितने लोग आएंगे, क्या होगा, कितना इंटरेस्ट होगा. The hall was full with developers. Same happened with Pune. Same has happened with all other cities as well. और बहुत खुशी है जयपुर में भी इतना सारा इंटरेस्ट देख के, आप लोग इतने एक्साइटेड हैं, आप अपनी सैटरडे इवनिंग हमारे साथ स्पेंड कर रहे हैं, उसके लिए बहुत शुक्रिया. एंड दिलीप जी एब्सोल्युटली सेट द कॉन्टेक्स्ट हियर. गौरव, आई टेक द सेकंड क्वेश्चन विद यू. तो जब हम Web3 की बात करते हैं, और जैसे दिलीप जी कह रहे हैं कि आने वाले सालों में हम इंडियन कंपनीज की बात करेंगे, इंडियन प्रोजेक्ट्स, इंडियन एप्लीकेशंस की यहाँ पर बात करेंगे, तो एज ऑफ नाउ द मार्केट इज ऑलरेडी राइप. हम देख रहे हैं वो इनरोड्स, ऑनबोर्डिंग यहाँ पर होता हुआ. कहाँ पर आप देखते हैं जहाँ पर the businesses, the applications and projects are absolutely ready and ripe for Web3?
Yeah, no, good question, Manisha. Actually, मैं दिलीप जी की बात सुन रहा था, उन्होंने Y2K बोला, मैं सोचा था इस हॉल में 80% लोग Y2K बाद ही पैदा हुए होंगे, तो उन्होंने कभी Y2K सुना नहीं होगा, but I think he made a very good point. In terms of applications, right? अब again going back to history, अगर आप देखो, बहुत पहले जब हम म्यूजिक खरीदते थे तो हम कैसेट खरीदते थे, राइट? एक एल्बम खरीदते थे, राइट? वो काफी, आप लोगों ने नहीं लिया होगा, पर पहले ऐसे म्यूजिक खरीदा जाता था. उस टाइम पे कोई ये नहीं सोच सकता था कि आप एक अनलिमिटेड सब्सक्रिप्शन से कितने भी गाने सुन सकते हो. दैट वाज नॉट पॉसिबल, बट दैट वाज मेड पॉसिबल बिकॉज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, राइट? तो नई टेक्नोलॉजी आई, MP3 आई, इंटरनेट आई, स्ट्रीमिंग आया, लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स हैपेंड एंड कंप्लीटली इकोनॉमिक मॉडल बदल गया, एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री का, म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री का, तो काफी चेंज हो गया. सो द पॉइंट आई वांट टू मेक इज कि इसमें भी ना अभी जो ये सारी टेक्नोलॉजीज आ रही हैं, NFT है, टोकन्स है, ब्लॉकचेन है, ये सिर्फ टेक्नोलॉजी है, पर इससे दुनिया बदलेगी तब जब इकोनॉमिक्स बदलेगी, जब नए मॉडल्स, बिजनेस मॉडल्स आएंगे. एंड that is actually what I'm waiting for. That's very interesting. In fact, आज सुबह में I read a very interesting article कि चंद्रयान का, क्योंकि टॉपिकल है, 75 million बजट था चंद्रयान का, and I was also reading that on the live streaming we made a record, 8 million people were watching it and 80 million people apparently watched it in like 2 days. तो मैं ये सोच रहा था कि अगर उन्होंने एक NFT बेची होती, उसकी फ्रैक्शनल NFT, सबको $1 की फ्रैक्शनल NFT बेची होती and give you the rights to watch Chandrayaan, the streaming, maybe उनका already.
I think as proud Indians we would have just done it.
Yes, right? We would have bought. I would be very happy to buy a piece of Chandrayaan for $1, and you know it would have funded the whole Chandrayaan and maybe the next one. And there are many models possible. अगर आपके पास 1000 NFT हैं तो आपके पास उसके जो भी images आ रही हैं उसके rights हैं. 10,000 NFT है तो data का rights है. And obviously practicality उसमें बहुत चीजें हैं. But you know these are new economic models that blockchain, NFTs, all of this can unlock. Again, similar things which I am seeing happening today. आज एक वेबसाइट में मैं देख रहा था, उसमें आप एक गाने की ओनरशिप ले सकते हो. किसी एक आर्टिस्ट ने गाना निकाला है, you can own part of that. उसके सारे revenues जितने भी हैं, 10%, 12%, 15% yield पे, you can own a song. So for whatever reason, whether you like the artist, whether you want to make money, you want investments, तो वो कर सकते हैं. Again, different models. एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग स्टार्टअप का बिजनेस मॉडल में देख रहा था. उसमें आप एक अपनी गाड़ी पे सिर्फ एक डैश कैम लगाएं और आप सिर्फ ड्राइव करें जैसे नॉर्मली ड्राइव करते हैं. वो डैश कैम उसके वीडियोस लेके जैसे गूगल स्ट्रीट व्यू है वैसे मैप कर देगा और आपको सिर्फ ड्राइव करने के लिए टोकन मिल रहे हैं. तो अगर सारे उबर ड्राइवर्स, ओला ड्राइवर्स वैसे कैम लगा दे तो उनके लिए एक सेकेंडरी इनकम बन जाती है. तो अगेन बहुत सारे इंटरेस्टिंग मॉडल्स निकल के आने वाले हैं. आई थिंक अभी तक सिर्फ टेस्टिंग हो रही है, बट ये जो लोग यहाँ बैठे हैं, जब ये नए प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाएंगे, नए आइडियाज लाएंगे, क्योंकि जो पुराने लोग हैं ना वो पुरानी चीजें सेम तरीके से करते हैं, जो नए लोग फ्रेश आते हैं वो कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट तरीके से करेंगे. एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई एम लुकिंग फॉर the new generation to come up with new models.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Gaurav, as a TV person as well as a media person as well, जब हम लोगों से पहले बात करते थे big legacy businesses से, तो वो कहते थे कि हम change नहीं करेंगे, यही हमारे लिए सालों से चलता रहा, ये आगे भी यहाँ पर चलेगा, and they would hold on to it. New technologies वगैरह नहीं इतनी यूज होती थी. But in last 5-8 years, I think all of that has completely changed. अब जब हम बिजनेसेस से बात करते हैं तो वो कहते हैं हम इवॉल्व हो रहे हैं, हम समय के साथ चल रहे हैं, और काफी सारे बिजनेसेस जनरेशन बिजनेसेस भी होते हैं. सो नेक्स्ट जनरेशंस ब्रिंग इन अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स लाइक दैट. सो प्रणव, दैट एग्जैक्टली इज माय नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. जो लेगेसी बिजनेसेस हैं, ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेसेस हैं, हाउ डू यू सी देम चेंजिंग विद Web3 एंड व्हाट वुड यू से व्हाट सेक्टर्स आर एब्सोल्युटली रेडी फॉर दैट चेंज?
Right. So again, thank you very much and a warm welcome to everyone. I come from the consulting world and I do consult a lot of clients across different sectors. We are like sector agnostic when we represent technology as such because these are foundational technologies. When you talk about blockchain, it's something which can permeate any sector, any industry. And I personally look at it as more like an ecosystem technology because it's not just meant for one organization. It's meant for multiple organizations, multiple industries to collaborate. In fact, one such very interesting model that we were working with, and it's at a concept stage, is with an automobile company who is pioneering it. But of course, there is an ecosystem of services providers, there is an ecosystem of insurance companies, of course, the consumers who are actually owning the actual sort of automobiles or vehicles. And how do they all come together in terms of exchanging information? Now, in fact, recently IRDAI has recently come up with a new regulation where you can design products which are pay-as-you-go models. Your premiums are decided on how you drive your vehicle, how often you take it for service, are you sort of getting it serviced on time? So all those things will decide and help actual consumers who are using the vehicle in the right way, and their premiums may be much lesser than somebody who's...
It's like a credit score.
Yeah. So very, very interesting models are coming up. This is just one sort of area. Another area, financial services, I think the whole blockchain community evolved because of the 2008 financial crisis where the whole concept around peer-to-peer lending, decentralization, in fact, not having a central authority to sort of help you make transactions between parties. That's what was the sort of birth of blockchain as such, how I look at. Because if you look at 2008 financial crisis, there were lenders, there were users who were wanting to sort of, say, get loans. There were investment banks, there were rating agencies, there were insurance companies, and there was no coordination. Everybody was actually sort of using their own data points, using their own sort of engines to sell products without even looking at it whether what is the right sort of thing from a whole industry perspective. Imagine that sort of an ecosystem coming on a blockchain where information is very transparently shared. Very transparently, immutable, people know what assets are being invested on, what assets are being insured, what is the sort of yield on those assets. So everything becomes so transparent. So again, what to say on this particular thing is, look at it from an ecosystem perspective. What I feel is financial services definitely going to go for a massive change in terms of how they work, they transact. And at the same time, there are other industries, specifically consumer-oriented industries, whether it is fashion brands, luxury products, whether it is even automobiles, people who actually touch the end consumer is also going to be transformed big time with this sort of a technology.
So what is the pace of it right now? What is the growth number that you see? What is the adaptability that you see when all of this is happening?
So if you look at growth, global stats anywhere around 40-45% CAGR in terms of typical blockchain, Web3, NFT adoptions across the globe. In fact, I can tell you from my personal experience.
Is there an India relative also that's in that number?
India, I can tell you from an experiential point of view because we work a lot with, say, DeFi companies, with large corporates. We do a lot of work on advising people how to adopt NFTs, NFT valuation, NFT forensics, a lot of things, a lot of traction. I think most conversations, everybody is very keen to at least understand and start with some sort of an exploratory project. So I think that is something which is a very good thing, and that has happened in the last 1.5 years. Huge traction. Yeah.
I also want to talk about monies here because since you are throwing so many numbers at us, what is the kind of investments that you have seen go into this then?
So investments, again, I think for this particular technology, you need a sponsorship from the top. And the sponsorship comes with a view that it has to be slightly more visionary. It is not transactional, that you may probably have a sort of a, when we do business cases for digital transformation and all that, where say some business cases may even turn out to be, say, positive in, say, 6-9 months when you talk about NPVs, paybacks and all. In this case, the gestation period could be slightly longer because this is a rather not an organizational transformation, this is an industry transformation. And we're talking about whole architecture of industries getting changed because of this sort of an adoption. So the gestation periods could anywhere be between minimum 18 to 24 months, where you see business cases turning positive and you see actual benefits coming to you.
Okay. You took us back to Y2K, but let me bring you back slightly. So all the numbers that Pranav is throwing at us, what is your sense? You know, because I was looking at some energy transition debate yesterday, and we talked about on how energy transition investments there and investments right now, and we are stuck somewhere in the middle. Would you say is the case with Web3 as well in some sense? Because as Pranav said, there's a lot of investment that needs to come. There's a lot of new collaborations, new concepts that need to come in here as well. I mean, we all understand, जब internet नया आया था तो काफी companies ने अपनी website बनाई. For all the companies to get into internet in some way or the other, small or big, it took some time. They are still getting there. And now we're talking about Web 2 to Web 3. How many businesses do you see jumping on this? And again,
okay. So I'll take a poll. How many of you have websites in your company? Please raise your hand. Websites.
Yeah, I was
okay. Now, how many of your websites are Web 3? Okay. So that's one indication that in the Web 3 community, majority of the websites are Web 2. What does it take to transform your Web 2 website to an immersive, interactive Web 3 type of system? There are at least 10 companies in the room that I know of can do it for you at a fraction of the cost. What is preventing you to do it is your legacy investment is like what was mentioned that you don't see a rate of return. But if you don't transfer to a Web3 website in the next 1 year to 1.5 years, your company will be severely impacted, number one. And what is interesting, in the Namaste Web3, we had a company that is a subsidiary of a large conglomerate. In fact, and I asked that person in another occasion where I met him, I said, you're doing all this work for companies overseas, why aren't you doing it for your own parent company? Very interesting example. Like you mentioned, no sponsor. He said, no, I've developed a NFT for one particular product. He said, what about the others? What about your website? But the interesting part, Manisha, is that there are many companies in this room who are actually challenging the incumbents. So like, Microsoft is one company that made it from Web 1 to Web 2, and because it dramatically changed their model. But if you look at all the other companies that are in Web 2, were never present in Web 1. Similarly, in Web 3, you might see a lot of companies who are not there. Indian companies in the large scale, actually a lot of things are happening in the NFT space. And you have a discussion on NFT, so I won't, take that thunder. A lot of things are happening in the experience space. So, there's Flipverse, for example. So things are happening in the experience metaverse space. But the banks, 20 banks have got together to look at how to use blockchain in the banking system. But no Indian bank is part of the global trade finance network. So it's a kind of a multiple kind of thing. अलग-अलग चीजें हो रही हैं और मेरे ख्याल young companies, क्योंकि जो आप unicorns देखेंगे ना, जो जितने भी नए यूनिकॉर्न्स बने, जो 100 के ऊपर यूनिकॉर्न्स हैं, वो ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेसेस को डिस्टर्ब करके बने हुए हैं. और ऐसे ही अगर एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनीज they don't adopt Web3 technology, blockchain technology. It's happened during the pandemic in pharmaceuticals. It happened in supply chain. A lot of states are doing it, but that as a percentage of the total activity, it is still some %. It is not even, you said 0.5%, right? So it's some %. In the number of, but the number of companies, the young companies who are doing it, are in the hundreds. Okay, there are 900 companies plus who are actually disrupting this space, but they are small.
But can I just add, because I feel that, change doesn't happen gradually. And there's a very famous quote, change happens gradually and suddenly. And when I'm hearing, Vinita ji talk about land records, for example, something very simple, one use case, coming on the blockchain. I think that can take your value under blockchain to like billions.
And it touches everybody, right? Everybody has a land.
Yeah, so everybody doesn't have to wait to buy an NFT. Everybody has an NFT, and they'll be, when they buy their house, they rent their house, suddenly they'll be, transacting on blockchain, and that will kickstart it. And, I think small initiatives like this will snowball into a much larger.
Actually, that's the challenge, because if you look at how many adopters, what did it take for Netflix to reach 100 million users, or what did it take, Chat GPT to take, but then Threads came up and they actually did that. How many people, 100 million use cases, or what's the big use case for Web3? That's what everybody is saying. And what is actually happening is a revolution under the surface. I think when that comes out, then you will see that, you didn't require that 100 million adoption, but this has changed the basic fundamental of how industry is structured today.
Oh, absolutely. Let me give you an example. And Gaurav, this question is to you. हम Bombay में थे और हम बात कर रहे थे, and somebody told me, I have assigned 10-20 million for making a metaverse of my business. Everything is going to go there. So the other person says, मेरे पास इतने पैसे नहीं हैं, लेकिन मेरा तो धंधा भी सारा का सारा on ground ही होता है, but I have made a website because you need to be present. So there's a thought process that seems to be changing there. The other thing really is a lot of Web 2 now, which goes on to Web 3. How do you see many of the builders here leveraging that? How do you, pardon me, how do you see the businesses growing up there? Because a lot of people who want to go from Web 2 to Web 3 don't know how to do that. It's about reaching out to them. How do you see the developers doing that?
Yeah, and that's a very tough question, no easy answer, but I think there'll be a bunch of different things. First of all, I feel you will not see an exact translation of Web 2 to Web 3. I think because we always feel that, we do things this way and we will do the same things that way in Web 2 or Web 3 and we'll repeat it. But it doesn't work that way. Suddenly when you move to that world, you'll realize you'll have to rethink your business, remodel your business, and that's where we are struggling. Businesses, large businesses, find incredibly difficult to disrupt themselves, right? So, and the disruption a lot of times come from outside. लोगों को अपने business model change करने पड़ेंगे, right? Some simple thing like advertisement, I feel, will completely change the business model. A lot of things will change. So, yes, metaverse is one way. Where a lot of people may have metaverse presence, but that's simply like जो first website बनाई थी लोगों ने, I have a business card, okay, let me put a website there. Now I have an online business card. That's the translation I feel that most companies are thinking of. What people need to think of is how will I completely change my business? How will I change the way? How will I change customers? How will I interact with my customers? How will I change my product?
No, so you know what? I want you guys to give me an example. A mining company is not going to change its business. It's going to continue to mine. But from Web 2 to Web 3, what is the difference there?
No. Mining companies are the first ones to adopt this.
Yeah.
Sorry, which company?
So I'm saying the business doesn't get disrupted.
Yeah.
It is the way you do business is what the change is.
I feel businesses will get disrupted.
Let me explain to you. So the big transition is that today, fundamentally of Web 3 is decentralized and, not centralized. So there will be challenges to Google, there will be challenges to Meta, there will be challenges to that. There's actually a Bangalore-based challenge for Uber, right? So either these Web 2 companies change their business model or they will be disrupted by Web 3 companies with new models. So, and someone from this room might, is kamre se koi aake unka model disrupt kar sakta hai. That is one
thing. Do that.
And that's what's going to happen. And the other thing is uses of blockchain and using, decentralized finance has got tremendous usage, right? But if you look at blockchain and look at industry by industry, you will see that actually happen very rapidly in industries that have to ensure authenticity of source, whether it's organic products, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, all those sectors where, you have to do supply chain, right? You will actually see a very rapid adoption over the next 1.5 years. Because global requirements to be there.
I would certainly want to add a point here. We are actually consulting a major Indian conglomerate, a very old one. They're into textile industry.
Okay.
And we've built a platform based on blockchain tenets. Of course, it's a private permission blockchain using Hyperledger Fabric.
Okay.
It connects an ecosystem. And when I talk about an ecosystem, it has at least 10 different parties, right from major global fashion brands, 70 plus fashion brands that transact on it. And it starts from brands to garmenters to finished fabric manufacturers to grey fabric manufacturers to spinners to fiber manufacturing company to pulp to forest. Everything, all transactions that happen are actually recorded on a blockchain. We have integrated labs onto this which provide authenticity of material that has been, because at every stage there is a transformation of material that happens. So what is the authenticity? What are there ethical sourcing practices that have been followed? There are no sort of instances of, say, child labor or modern slavery that has been, because some of these chains actually start not just in India but outside. So in fact, on our platform, there are about 22 countries that are actually mapped with different sort of stakeholders coming from different locations. It's a platform which comes in 5 different languages. It's a complete transformation of the entire textile industry. The way everybody gets benefit is in terms of, now let's talk tangible business benefits to everyone who transacts. It's a complete transformation in the way you run your operations, right from inventory planning to production planning to say working capital management, everything, because now you have visibility. You have a visibility that a brand has actually placed an order of 25,000 shirts and eventually it is going to land in my queue. How do I plan for the raw material? So imagine the way the whole industry is getting transformed, and it's actual tangible financial benefits that benefit. We have about 1,500 plus value chain partners that transact. So it's a complete transformation. So yes, there are cases like this which are happening, and this is something that has been led out of India and it's been globally sort of recognized as one of the things. In fact, not just to sort of talk about us and what work we are doing, but it has actually gotten 2 global awards, one from United Nations and one from Golden Peacock Award for sustainability. So like that, there are several cases which are there.
Oh, well, absolutely, yes. I think we know the textile company now. We've given us enough hints there. But we also, I was recently talking to De Beers and BHP and how they have gotten onto blockchain as well and the kind of work that they're doing there as well. So, Gaurav, I'm of course going to come to you as well, क्योंकि आप लोग यहाँ पर सब हैं और हम इतनी सारी यहाँ पर बातचीत कर रहे हैं, तो एक last question और उसके बाद आपसे भी जानना चाहेंगे, आपके अगर कुछ सवाल इस panel से यहाँ पर हैं. But Gaurav, a lot of people ask, and on the costing part of it, as we talk about the rate of return on this, and is it too early and can we wait it through, and what would you say onto that? And would you say that the cost effectiveness from jumping to Web 2 to Web 3 or just starting with Web 3 is there yet?
So I had a startup in 2013. I was trying to convince people to make payments in restaurants using their mobile phone, and people used to laugh at me, and we ran out of money, and now you know what happened. 10 years later, everybody's doing it. So yes, I was too early. This might be too early, but the thing is, I sold out 2 months before demonetization, and it took off after that, right? So you never know when that demonetization moment, that Web3 moment will pick up. I think you want to be there when that hockey stick happens. Only people who are there will actually benefit from it. So I think everybody needs, this is going to happen. Whether it happens in 6 months or a year or 18 months, I can't predict. But you just have to make sure that, you have the lottery ticket, खरीदोगे तभी जीतोगे. अगर नहीं खरीदोगे तो नहीं जीतोगे. It's as simple as that.
All right, I have my questions, लेकिन ये टाइम वो है, इसीलिए हम यहाँ पर सिटीज में ट्रैवल करते हैं ताकि आपसे आपका क्वेश्चन, आपका फीडबैक भी जान सकें. तो हमारे पैनल से अगर आपका कोई सवाल है तो हम इस वक्त ले सकते हैं. जी हाँ, कैन वी प्लीज पास द माइक ऑन देयर? We can't hear him.
Yeah. Question is that as we all know that data is decentralized in blockchain and user owns its data. it is not owned by any company, whether it's government or any giants like Google or something else. So is this something that our government is reluctant of moving from Web 2 to Web 3? And what we entrepreneurs and what the developers as well as the businessmen are doing to convince to convince the government that we have to move from Web 2 to Web 3. Right. So maybe there are some chances that the government may say that we need your.
So, my next question was that, अगर आप नहीं पूछते तो मैं ये पूछ रही थी कि regulatory aspect क्या है अब इसका?
Yeah. So let me start, and you're the expert, but I'll give you my view on this, right? I think मेरा view उल्टा है. मेरे ख्याल में इस space में government actually काफी आगे है. अगर आप and not just India, globally, data protection bills, GPDR, बहुत सारे अब चीजें पढ़ो, तो government का intention यही है. वो नहीं चाहती कि सारा data companies के पास रहे. वो actually चाहती है कि control लोगों के पास रहे. बट गवर्नमेंट ना कभी टेक्नोलॉजी मैंडेट नहीं करेगी. गवर्नमेंट ये नहीं बोलेगी कि आप ये यूज करो कि वो यूज करो. गवर्नमेंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ले करती है. बट आई जेन्युइनली बिलीव जो विनीता जी ने बताया कि रीड राइट ओन जो है, Web3 एक ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी जिसमें आप अपना डेटा एक्चुअली ओन कर सकते हो, राइट? सो यही अगर सही टेक्नोलॉजी है टू इम्प्लीमेंट जो भी आपने बोला है वो करने के लिए, एंड वो नेचुरली उभर के आएगी बिकॉज स्ट्रेंथ उसकी वही है. दिस इज व्हाट इट डज बेस्ट. So I actually think government is supporting it, they're encouraging it. They're just not saying कि अच्छा ये blockchain या ये वो use करो, वो framework ले कर रहे हैं. But Dilip, you want to
Dilip, please add on. Okay, let's take the next question then. Somebody from here wanted to ask. Ji, that's the mic there.
So he's one of the 10 companies. Hello. Sir, you said that the website should be immersive. So is that metaverse or immersiveness in the websites and these things? Is this counted under Web3?
So immersive means interactive. Today you have a bot. The bot is AI driven, etc. But bot is not really interactive or engaging in an incentive, right? You want to get people to keep coming to your website, keep coming to it. So how do you incentivize that? Do you build in NFTs or tokens when they visit? How do you keep? So there's a huge range of immersiveness in your website. If you give reward points, right? For example, if I were to take the ICAT website and say if you've taken the first course, you will get 1. If you take 10 courses, you'll get 10 points. 10 points you can donate to somebody else who wants to do a kind of another course there. So there are different ways of doing it. You can take any example. You apply, see the principles of Web3 and engagement and immersiveness are very, very simple. We need minds. आपके जैसे लोग चाहिए जो principles लेके एक कोई भी application देख करके उसको convert करके उसको जो individual है. Web 2 और Web 3 में फर्क एक बहुत fundamental फर्क है. Web 3 में individuals जो time game में spend करते हैं या website में spend करते हैं या किसी और on the net spend करते हैं उसको monetize कर सकते हैं. वो मोनेटाइज किसी सेंट्रल एजेंसी को नहीं जाता. ये एक फंडामेंटल शिफ्ट है जो वेल्थ क्रिएशन का एक एस्पेक्ट है.
Very well answered, yeah.
Good evening all. I basically have questions. One is to Mr. Noy. I would like to know whether Bharat Web3
We can hear you. We can hear you.
All right. So I wanted to know whether from 2.0 to Web 2.3.
Whoa, you're giving a lot of gyan. Are you giving money as well?
So let me put it this way. Bharat Web3 Association is not doing it, but our members, very interestingly, almost all of our members have set up incubation centers, have created education outreach partners, and you saw they also created funding arms. Okay, we as an association are not doing it. We are actually, our members are doing it, and also we are partnering with governments, right? to create sandboxes where they are actually enabling people to do it. So we are a very young association. We are not even, we are just about 10 months old, right? But members are doing it.
Anything in Rajasthan in particular for this, or any company that is associated with you from Rajasthan?
No, we don't have a member yet from Rajasthan, right? But there are 10 potential members, like I said here, in the room. I talked to 2 of them. And anybody who wants to actually look at membership at bharatweb3association.com, or my colleague Suman is here, or catch hold of me. No problem.
All right, great. Thank you. The second question that I have is a little controversial. Way back in, I think, 2018 or 19, some data was compromised by Facebook. So is it something that we can talk about, or it's not allowed?
What is your question?
What's the question?
My question is that the data that was compromised, as per them, they claim that this is, they have converted themselves into Web 3.0. But they are not yet, because the data was compromised. So what is your take on that?
Is it on data privacy? Yeah.
Your question is...
Your question is on data privacy.
What's the question? Can you repeat the question again?
So let me just rephrase it. Is your question, what is my view on the data leak from Facebook? Or is it
No, they mentioned that we are Web 3.0. We have adapted to it. But still there was a data compromise.
No.
So do you think Web 3.0?
Yeah. So fundamentally, if you don't own your data, if you don't have the right to say that I will take my data away from you, then you're not Web 3.0. I think the Web 3.0 is actually a very floating definition. To be honest, there is still no textbook on it. But the ethos of that is that you are in control of your data. You are choosing. Let me give you an example. Suppose you're shopping with Amazon. If Amazon was truly Web 3.0, all your shopping data is yours. Today you say, you know what, disconnect from Amazon, give data to Flipkart. Now Flipkart has the data. Then you can disconnect and give it to Meesho. You are the one in control of your data. Actually, that has not been implemented yet. The true owning your own data, having the portability of it, having the control who to give it, who not to give it, is actually what we need to get to, but we are very far away from that. At most, what people own right now in Web 3.0 is assets, not data. There is very little control of data right now. We're a little far away from that.
Thank you. Great questions. I'm sorry we've run out of time because this is the time for next panel, but our panelists are right here. You can absolutely catch them off stage. There is going to be networking as well. But that's all the time we have on this panel. Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Manisha. And thank you to the audience for those engaging questions. And before I move, again, a little announcement. Telegram channel है, Namaste Web3 Movement. जो भी यहाँ पर बातें हो रही हैं, जो आगे बातें होने वाली हैं, जो चैप्टर्स हम आगे इंट्रोड्यूस करने वाले हैं, उनके बारे में सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन जो है वो यहाँ पर है. QR कोड is right here. आप इसको स्कैन कर सकते हैं. ज्वाइन करिए इसको and be part of this journey. All right, time now for our second panel of the evening. The topic of the chat is how are Web 2 brands embracing Web 3. हमने इसके बारे में थोड़ी बहुत बातचीत जो है वो पिछले पैनल में कर ली है, लेकिन अब हम इसको थोड़ा और आगे बढ़ाते हैं. And I would like to remind you of the days when Web 2 brought us a more interactive online world. Well, Web 3 is here to take that experience to a whole new dimension. It's all about immersing ourselves in a decentralized digital space. The shift has caught the attention of even non-crypto brands in recent years, and there's no wonder why. Well, discover how these brands are navigating the shift, adapting to new paradigms, and harnessing the potential of decentralized, immersive experiences. Manisha, back on the stage to moderate the next panel. And put your hands together for the experts for this session. Angad Sodhi, artist, curator, co-founder, Colors of India, director, media, NFTs, tech and culture, India Blockchain. Pranav Kaushik, partner, digital transformation, Grant Thornton Digital. Yashaswi Rao, VP Products, Octo. Satvik Sethi, founder, Anoka, social impact activist, Web3 evangelist, investor and artist. Over to you, Isha.
थैंक यू मुग्धा। जैसे मुग्धा ने कहा कि हम काफ़ी कुछ यहाँ पर Web3 के बारे में बात कर चुके हैं। दैट वाज एन ओपनिंग पैनल जिसने आपको समझाया कि Web2 क्या है, Web3 क्या है, क्या नंबर्स हैं, what are the plus, minus, regulatory and of course amazing questions as well. So these are the guys who will now talk to us about on how is it working for them and what are their experiences onto that. Pranav, taking in from the first panel to the second now, what is your sense on how strong the adaptability has been? You've given us the numbers already, but how would you say it is working for the people who have adopted it already? Are there opportunities? Yes. What are the challenges?
So, of course, there are a lot of opportunities, and some of the sectors are really sort of making real good sort of tangible benefits. If I talk about FS as a sector, yes, there are very, very pertinent and very good use cases that have emerged. In fact, I can talk about there's a global bank, a very large one with whom we are working. And they're working, and in fact, we are working along with them on bond tokenization. A very, very unique sort of a way in which the ownership, the whole, say, the economics of how bonds work, the coupon values and how they are going to be distributed to owners and all that is completely transformational. So, and of course it establishes clear ownership, clear sort of authenticity of what you own as a thing. Then again, a lot of media and entertainment industry sort of clients that we work with, they've been able to monetize a lot of content, whether it is digital content, whether it is physical artifacts, celebrity merchandise, very marquee content. They've been able to sort of do that and do that in a very engaging way with their customers, very evolved sort of ways in which, say, they're making money. So, of course, that's another sector which has seen very good traction. Again, I would say consumer markets as an overall sector. Now, I always, like, there's some brands and then some sort of so organizations that I'm really sort of glued into, like Nike, Gucci's. I think Nike has really nailed it. If you ask me, it is very clear that they have a very, very clear strategy as to how they want to go ahead with Web3. Right from having an immersive sort of an environment to having tokens which can be sort of, which you can collect. Tokens can be linked to actual physical products and physical sort of things. They have their .swoosh sort of a portal now. Again, Web3 sort of a portal. Very clear ways in which they want to adopt the whole gamut, like right from decentralization to asset ownership to actually associating those digital sort of, so your ownership sort of things which are recorded in blockchain with a physical object and then giving an overall immersive experience as well. Very engaging, very, very encompassing that, at least that's what it appears to be. Yeah.
Angad, we have so many developers here, creators here. पर आपको लगता है कि इस बार भी वही होगा कि बड़े-बड़े names like Netflix and Amazon and Gucci's will do it first and हम बैठ के पहले देखेंगे, समझेंगे और उसके बाद उसको incorporate करेंगे?
So I think it's actually the opposite of that. I think that Nike as a brand, since we're using Nike as an example, they've actually been one of the sort of pioneers in always finding subcultures and finding what's happening and then tapping into that. So everything that Nike has done, I mean, the first thing that they did was they tied up with TK, which is basically a company that was making digital sneakers. So instead of actually going out and creating a lot of stuff, what's interesting in Web3, I think we were talking about this earlier as well, is a lot of smaller companies, a lot of smaller startups or a lot of individual creators are creating and playing with this new technology. And then people like Nike are coming in and saying, you know what, here's an interesting way that we can actually engage our community. And I mean, that's the big sort of differentiator here as well, which I'm sure we'll go deeper into. But all of these bigger brands are actually coming into the communities that already exist in Web3. So they've come to the subculture. And then Nike, I think, on secondary have already gone, when I say secondary sales, I mean, Nike made, I think, 100 and something million on primary sales of their tokens. And everyone else who has actually retraded those tokens or flipped those tokens, I think they made over $1 billion, those tokens. So that's the potential of tapping into these subcultures that bigger brands are looking at.
We have numbers from Pranav already, and that comes in from the company. But I really want to understand on what all of you think about numbers within India right now, and what is your sense on growth potential?
I mean, obviously, we are one of the largest populations in the world. We're one of the largest young populations, probably one of the largest young tech-savvy populations. So I will leave the math to everyone else here. But if adoption sort of goes at the rate that it should, and of course, there's a lot of support we need from the government and from policy, and a certain fear that general perception of anything to do with crypto in general has. If we can sort of break some of that stigma, I mean, there's nothing stopping us from being the superpower in Web3. And the numbers are going to be staggering. I mean, you're welcome to take a crack at that. But
Satvik, what's your sense on this?
So I've spent the last 7 years of my life abroad, and I've just returned to India. And one of the first things that I've noticed is just how big the Web3 space is. And obviously, when you spend so much time abroad, you don't really get a glimpse of that, despite being tapped into, obviously, my family here and a lot of friends here. But coming back, coming to events like this, ETH India, seeing the amount of developers, seeing the amount of products, you really do get a sense of the deeply rooted understanding of, like you said, subcultures, about technical innovation. And there are people here who want to push the boundaries of what is possible. I think already some of the biggest brands, some of the biggest companies in Web3 are from Indian founders. You, Sandeep, with Polygon, and so many of these products that are coming to global markets. But I do agree with your point. I think a lot of it does come down to breaking down the stigma that surrounds the topic of just cryptocurrency, NFTs, blockchain. And I take a contrarian view to this to an extent where I don't necessarily think that as founders here, if you're building in this space, that you need to take the onus of breaking down that stigma and trying to convince the government. What I want to say is that the governments and these institutions should be supporting you, because you're the one that's bridging that gap between India and the rest of the global economy. And the other side to that is that I think blockchain, and some might disagree with me here, the word blockchain or cryptocurrency or NFTs is tainted for a global audience. When you think about brands that want to get into the Web3 space, a lot of times when they announce that we're doing this NFT activation, or we're going to start accepting crypto payments, their native audience tends to disagree with it, and they're very vocal about it. You'll see them very angry on Twitter. You'll see them complaining, why is Discord announcing?
Who are these people?
90% of the general public, they hate the idea of NFTs because it's become quite associated with scams. It's become associated with a lot of malpractices, bad actors. And I think the message here for founders is, take the technology, take the efficiency of the technology, but you don't necessarily need to announce how it's powered. I think when I share my website with you, I don't say, here's my website, and by the way, it's built on the internet. It's kind of a given that this is a website, it's built on the internet. When you build an app, you don't say, oh, this is powered by the internet, and this is crazy technology that lets you connect with people. So take essence of this technology. I think the tools for privacy, the tools for transaction efficiency, the tools for kind of connecting with each other, all those are amazing, and I think Web3 solves a lot of the world's biggest technological challenges, but you don't need to say that it's Web3. There's a huge sentiment of just abstracting away from the terminology that's holding the space back, and I think that's what you want to focus on. Instead of NFTs, say digital collectibles. Instead of saying crypto payments, you just do payments. And so I think that's the kind of ethos that you want to build towards, instead of being hyper-focused on the terminology there.
Wouldn't you say you need to educate people more rather than not mentioning it to them?
I don't think the education component is lacking if you don't mention the terms. I think what you need to educate on is, again, the efficiency of the technology rather than getting stuck in the terminology. like Sir said earlier, that there's still no Bible definition of what Web3 really encompasses. And so it's still, very open to interpretation. Even a lot of Web3 brands are still not embracing Web3 ethos. So as long as you're taking those ideals, as long as you're taking what makes Web3 so special, what are those elements of privacy, of, transactability, of global payments, all those things, I think you don't really need to mention where it comes from.
Whoa, that's a whole new thing that you've opened up here. Yashasvi, what's your sense on what he said?
On the numbers, we're honestly building in the Web3 space, so we're doing some research recently. About 15 to 20 million people in India hold crypto as of today. That number is just for crypto who is interested in the financial aspects of it. It's estimated that about 70% of everybody who owns a smartphone has heard the term NFT and are curious about it. Some people want to play with it. I think the barrier is not in the numbers. Enough people have heard about it. Enough people have some curiosity related to it. But I think the barrier is, what do I do with it? I've heard about it. It sounds like something abused or something shady out there. But what do I actually do with it? I think that's where the rubber hit the road.
How many of you have held crypto at one point or the other? Are you still holding it? All right. Okay. So, let's start this all over again now. I'm not coming back to you. Angad, a lot of people are getting into Web3. Crypto is not a great word right now, yes, because the way various governments and regulators are dealing with, but they also do not know how to regulate it, how to deal with it as well. I mean, this is something most finance ministers and regulators have said. With whatever they are doing, there is an ever-evolving situation that we've seen. But when we talk about tokenization, Web3, NFTs for that matter, how would you look at India adopting that? I mean, as we know, nearly 70% of people in the hall have sometime dabbled in crypto. This is a technology that government also is pushing about. We've seen Vinita ji say so much about it.
So I think, I'm really sorry, I am going to go back to Satvik's little sort of segue for a second, because it actually ties into what you just asked me. I think that there is a perception problem, there's a PR problem that the entire sort of ecosystem faces, because sadly, or maybe not sadly for a lot of people who made money in this, the first thing that everybody heard about when we talked about Web3 was crypto, was trading, was sort of speculation. And that has tainted all of the rest of it. So while we have a lot of, I think India, if I'm not wrong, Yash, I think you've done research on this, we have the highest number of crypto wallets in the world, if I'm not wrong. But when it comes to adopting NFTs, or when it comes to actually getting into the cultural side of it, that conversation has not really taken place. So it is only, there's like degens and people who are sort of, who bought into the whole Web3 ideology, the whole idea of decentralization. Those are the people who actually went into your NFT projects and who sort of started looking at that side, the cultural side of what is happening, which is, I mean, now coming back to brands, which is where brands need to start plugging in. And there are brands who are plugging in. So we recently did a couple of music festivals where your tickets were NFTs. Unfortunately, most people who bought those tickets did not know what an NFT was. So the problem lies in when you actually say the word NFT, there's this whole other stigma that comes up, and you're suddenly trying to pull people back from a whole lot of other random questions. Like, for us from the NFT space, the toughest thing that happened was Bored Apes selling for over $1 million. Because there is no logical justification to a JPEG selling for that price. But when you talk to someone about, oh, I'm from the NFT space, that's the question they want answered. They don't want to talk about all of the other benefits of the technology. So I feel like we do have a big PR problem here, more than anything else. But there are a lot of people, I'm sure there's a lot of people here as well, who are building sort of core technologies that will, without using the word NFT, or without using tokens, or without using blockchain or cryptocurrency or any of that, still give you the experiences.
How does that work?
if you buy a ticket to something and I tell you that this ticket will unlock a whole lot of other experiences for you, do I need to tell you it's an NFT? Won't you just be happy with the experiences you get?
So, do you think, and okay, since you want to talk about this, let me throw this additional question to you. When crypto came, everybody jumped in. I mean, we know those numbers. We've been talking on top of our voices with those numbers there. And blockchain was like the baby. And then NFTs, we saw every actor, sports person come with NFTs there. So we lapped up all of that. And then what happened suddenly?
See, I'll tell you, there was a big hype. It all started with a hype that, oh, there's cryptocurrency. It's suddenly it's very volatile. It goes up suddenly and it goes down as well. But I can tell you, see, whenever we use technology, it has to solve a business problem. It has to generate actual value, and it has to have a utility. Now, most projects which started with that hype, even when we are talking about a lot of sometimes layer 1 and layer 2 blockchain solutions also, they don't have a clear sort of when you read their sort of, the white papers and everything, they don't really have a purpose. Similarly, a lot of NFT projects were launched without having a purpose, like JPEGs selling for millions makes no sense unless it is associated with some sort of a utility which gives access, some sort of privilege. It comes with some sort of a scarcity as well, like, oh, I'm the only privileged one who probably owning an asset will give me this sort of an access towards something. So it has to have a utility as such. In fact, we do a lot of consulting with corporates. Now, and when we do consulting, we also tell them that what should be right price point for your NFTs. If you're launching an NFT campaign, what is the right price point? Because it has to have a value which people appreciate and then take because they're getting something out of it. So it has to have a real business value. Without it, I think you need to read a lot when you are investing in these things and don't just sort of go for the hype as such. That's what I would probably say.
I'm going to confess, I made an NFT painting as well. I'm not going to tell you the price of it, but I did.
Yeah. No, but painting has a real value.
Digitally done, yeah. There are a lot of enthusiasts in this room as well, and we've been talking about, you guys talked about the right PR, the correct knowledge, the right education, and of course the absorption, and the kind of numbers that we've been talking about here. What is it the sense that you think more and more people would get into it? We've talked about the regulatory part of it already, but how do you see people getting the right PR? How do you see people adopting it?
Sure. So for this, I'm going to go back to your conversation around the hype, which was initially a draw for a lot of brands. So until earlier this year, I used to lead MasterCard's global Web3/NFT products, and during those last 2 years in that role, I got to work with a lot of very renowned companies, brands, Fortune 500s that used to work with MasterCard. And these are traditionally companies that are just focused on payments or are just focused on, their specific niche. But they were open to the idea of exploring Web3. At the start of last year, the only reason any of them wanted to explore Web3 was that free marketing that came with Web3. The mania of NFTs, because they knew that as soon as they say, XYZ brand is launching an NFT collection, they're going to get global exposure in every single newspaper that no amount of marketing budgets that these corporates have could buy them. So for the first 6 months of last year, that was the sole reason for any of these brands entering this space. But obviously that hype eventually dies down. Like he said, the price comes down, the buyers all dry up. So the market was very bleak, but at the same time, there was this underlying sentiment that Web3 as a technology can be really powerful. And I think that's where that drastic transformation came about, where we suddenly went from brands coming to us and saying, oh, we want to launch an NFT collection of, Bored Ape looking monkey JPEGs because we can make some money, we can get a lot of free marketing, to brands coming and saying, how can we integrate Web3, how can we integrate blockchain at a fundamental level, at the core level of our business. So it went from this kind of afterthought marketing campaign to something that I think you mentioned earlier. It comes from the budgets and the approval comes from the top of the organization and saying, we're going to start integrating Web3 into every aspect of how our company operates. And to kind of shed light on your question of how do you then use Web3 without actually talking about it. So we're now seeing, Emirates Airlines recently announced that they're moving from their current traditional loyalty program and actually integrating Web3 into that mix. And now they're not going to tell their customers who are paying, $15,000, $20,000 for a first-class ticket to claim a free NFT. They're going to tell them, here's your digital loyalty pass, and use this, and you can hold it on this digital account that we've made for you instead of saying digital wallet. And I think that's how you start to abstract those terms that may be a bit muddled with terminology that's still easy to understand, easy to digest, and people want to be a part of it. Even when I was working at MasterCard, I work with clients across industries, music streaming, sports, hardcore financial technology, and our whole kind of goal was just figuring out how we can integrate these experiences around even metaverse activations, token gating some of their events, building kind of payment systems for their existing clients, but without mentioning NFTs, and just building this digital experience for them.
So Yashasvi, this one is to you, and I agree to some point now, because when we were into Web 1, we didn't say it was Web 1. When we got into Web 2, we didn't say it was Web 2. Now suddenly when Web 3 is incoming, we are comparing, taking steps back, trying to explain it all. Why are we doing that one? And when we are talking about these inclusion of Web 3 in our day-to-day businesses, people moving from Web 2 to Web 3 as well, the daily experiences as you talked about, how do you see that being taken in?
No, I agree. I think the PR problem is not the first problem. It's sort of.
Are we over-explaining ourselves?
Yeah, I do think so. For example, the real problem, that is the customer problem, is that they need to own the experiences. When we say read, write, own is own my experience myself. For example, let's take like a real world use case, right? I say, Angad, I had this amazing chai the other day at Ramu Kaka chai shop. Please go, say that you're my friend, and you'll also get that amazing chai. And he goes there, he gets that like extra elaichi in that chai. And he feels special, I feel special. We both walk away being slightly happier. If I can create the same experience in a digital environment at a decentralized level, I don't need a company like Nike to come and say, this is my NFT, take it, I'm this amazing brand. If we can do it at our level using technology that we own, I think that will crack it. And that's real world use case. That's real world utility. That's the utility that we were speaking about earlier. And that doesn't brandy about terms like Web3 or blockchain. It just says, dude, get better chai.
Angad, we all play, we've all been there. Humne sabne gaming khela hua hai. But the minute, again, I'm going to put in NFT here, that you get it. You don't just spend that money into gaming, you earn something out of it. How difficult is that to explain?
I mean, it's not very hard to explain. It's not very hard to explain when you actually talk to gamers. They've been used to buying a lot of things within the games they play. Except that when you buy, say, a skin on Fortnite or whatever, when you'd actually make that investment, you didn't actually own that. The minute you unplug from the game, that remains there. You don't actually take that home with you. And also, obviously, you're spending a lot of hours, you're doing a whole lot of other stuff. And this is where I feel NFTs and the metaverse kind of plug into gaming. Because when you're looking at Web3 gaming, everything that you're buying is something that you can actually, I mean, you keep it in your wallet, and most of us, I'm sure, know what a wallet is.
NFT is a good word for gamers.
NFTs, I mean, I'm just using NFTs more as, I'm just using NFTs here for the purpose of this conversation, but a digital asset is what we would use outside of people who understand what an NFT is. You own that digital asset, but it is an NFT. We don't need to tell you that, but it is an NFT. The technology that you're using is, it is a non-fungible token, which allows for it to then live in your wallet, and you could plug it into another game. You could go to another metaverse. Similarly, your assets or your avatar or whatever else that you have, which is a digital asset that you own, the time it's spending in that metaverse could generate other tokens for you. It could generate a whole lot of other sort of advantages where you're getting paid to play, where you're getting paid to view. And I mean, from here, I feel like a lot of brands, even outside of just gaming, can start to benefit from this side of things, because the big shift, and I meant to come to this a little earlier, but we've gone on a whole other sort of tour, is the big shift is we've gone from a customer to a community member. Ownership, when we talk ownership, like Yash said, his chai wala who he loves and goes to regularly, there's a sense of pride and ownership that he takes when he introduces me to him, saying, you know what, this guy is the best. I want you to go have this and get this experience because I get this every day and it's special. So that ownership is what brands can now start sort of cultivating in their consumer, if you want to call it, but community is really the word that sort of comes into play.
But hasn't blockchain and NFTs always been so community driven? I mean, this is a conversation I remember having like 5-7 years ago, that it's all about community and how people stick together, and there are various ways of doing this. What are we missing now?
I mean, that's where this whole thing sort of is coming from, right? That is the real essence of what you want to take away when you talk from a brand's perspective on how they engage with their customer. So you're no longer trying to sell somebody something. You actually want to plug them into your entire ecosystem. So going back to Nike as an example, even though we've gone sort of away from that, going back to Nike, they've built an entire ecosystem where anybody who owns anything that they have sold as a digital asset, or not even sold, sometimes just rewarded, they get to benefit from so many different things. I think they've done a deal with EA Sports where you get paid to play, where you get, I think, your .swoosh NFTs or your digital assets. You get paid to play. I'm going to stop using NFTs now.
Clearly. I think it's just too many mishaps which have led to this whole conversation restarting all over again and not using the N word. I don't know. But, okay, let's get some questions in. Yes. Can we please pass on the mics there? You guys actually hijacked my conversation away. I had a different set of questions.
Yeah.
When you have that chai together?
Yes.
Yes. We can't hear him. Can we please fix his mic? Yeah.
Hello, am I audible? Yeah. Hello, everyone. So, like, when we talk about the adaptation of a Web3 and a tokenization or a token getting parts, so whenever we implement over the startups things, so I want to know, like, in a Web3, every transaction takes some gas fees or kind of money. We can, in a simple language, we can say for a money. So how that is been handled over for the normal people? Like, it usually goes for the transactions part. So everyone have to spend something. As compared to Web 2, we don't have to spend anything for doing the same cases, just like booking an appointment.
So I think that depends on what blockchain you go to as well. So not every blockchain charges a lot of gas or any gas. There are chains that, you know, like Polygon is a very, very affordable blockchain to be on. Tezos is another, if you're looking at art as NFTs, if that's what you're talking about, it's practically nothing what you pay. The opportunity cost or whatever, if you want to call it that, on Ethereum is, if you put that money in, you do stand to possibly sell your art for a lot more value. But you would do that even when you're actually looking at anything in the real sort of physical art world. I mean, if you were to come and do an exhibition at this very hotel and someone was selling stalls versus you standing outside and doing something somewhere else, they'll probably charge 30 or 40,000 rupees for one day. So there is a cost, but that is an opportunity cost that you would pay, but you do have options that are gasless as well. And I think with sort of blockchains evolving, with a whole lot of other things happening on the technology front, there are going to be a lot of gasless or sort of gas-free transactions. I think Yash may be someone who may want to say something about this.
Yeah. 50 years ago, the computer was the size of a room. Today, it's most of our watches, right? So technology evolves and quickly. Fundamentally speaking, the gas or the fee that you're paying to a blockchain is for the security that you're paying for. Blockchains keep things secure and you're paying for it. As and when we evolve in that journey, like he said, the fee is reducing rapidly. And as and when more users come in, the fee will drop even further. And it'll be so invisible that you won't even notice it. Brands will pay for it. It'll go away.
So I just want to add one thing. I think your question's great, by the way. From what I understand, you're asking, you know, in the traditional world in Web 2, we don't have to pay to interact with these brands, right? We can transact for free. We can interact. We can meet them at their store for free. But in Web 3, there's a cost associated with even just interacting with these brands. I think that's a great question. I think what he's saying makes a lot of sense. So 3 years ago when I joined the space, just to interact with a brand in Web 3, I would end up paying, you know, $200-300 in gas fees just to be able to transact and buy something, right? Today, that cost has gone down to maybe $1, $2, even 50 cents on some chains. So I think as we continue to scale, those efficiencies will eventually lead us to zero, where you'll be able to then interact with them for free. But that said, I think there's also this misconception, apart from obviously the transaction side, that you need money to start participating in Web3. And I think that's, again, one of the things tainted by this PR crisis that Web3 is having, that the only way to gain something out of Web3 is to first, you know, spend hundreds of dollars, buy crypto, buy NFTs, and that's the only way you will grow. I can tell you when I started, I'm 25 years old now. I got in the space when I just graduated from college. I had nothing to my name. I, you know, couldn't even rent an apartment on my own. And I got into Web3. I pooled like $50 with my cousin, and we said, you know, let's just do something. We obviously didn't make any money, lost that $50 as well. And what I ended up doing was just participating in different communities. I joined different Discords. Those are things you can do for free. Those are ways to interact with different brands for free. Just, you know, join these communities on Twitter, on Discord, start talking, start showing them where your own skill set lies, start showing them what you can contribute. And more often than not, there are a ton of people in this space that want to actually uplift those people, that want to share those opportunities. Very quickly, you'll start getting paid, you know, to start making content for someone or start moderating a group chat. You know, people will encourage you, lift you up, and that's how I made my first little bit of ETH, and then you just kind of grow from there, and then you get embedded. So don't come with this misconception that you'll need to spend money to make money. I think one of the most beautiful things about Web3 is it's very accessible and open to everyone.
I think we can take one more question and then we can wind this down. Sure.
Good evening to the panel. And like I have issues with my legs, so
we
panel,
can't see
please,
you, so
yeah.
if you can stand up.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah.
thing is like I have issue with my legs, so if I ask the question by sitting on the chair, panel please bura mat maniega.
Sure.
Fine.
Sure.
So thing is like by education I did my engineering in computer science from BITS Plani, right? And by profession I'm in government of India. So and by hobby I like to invest in virtual digital asset. I will not call it cryptocurrency because it's quite defamed right now in the eyes of government of India, and that's the main reason that I don't want to be caught in the eyes of that particular camera also. So being a government employee, my concern is I don't have any question. I have a request with Manisha ma'am, and being she belongs to the giant community of media and broadcast. I know she can put up my request on the proper platform. My request is like in year 2001, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs amended the Schedule 3rd of annual reports and make mandatory to disclose the profit, loss and amount of virtual currencies held by the private listed companies in year from the annual report from 4th April 2021 onwards, right? So apart from hobbying in investing in virtual digital asset, I have hobby to invest in Indian stock market also, right? So when I go with the annual reports of past 4 to 10 years, I just see that from the year 2000, you can say from year 2021, it has been made mandatory to disclose the holding in virtual digital asset by every private company listed in the Indian stock market. But apart from control print, I hardly see any annual report that clearly mentions the holding of virtual digital asset, right? So my request with the Manisha ma'am is like, and the purpose of Namaste Web3 is to make the people aware about the virtual digital asset, right? So if she put up the question in front of the ministry or in front of the government, then that if it is mandatory to disclose the holding, of VDA in every annual report from 2021 onwards, then why the private companies are not going to mention that? I know lots of private listed companies are there, which are running the nodes of Polygon, which are dealing in the colored coins, and which are the part of the consortium of Hedera Hashgraph also, right?
Sure. Okay.
So definitely there should be some provision, because if you want to make the people aware about the virtual digital asset, so it should be, when it will get reflected in their annual reports, analysts with this, when they will discuss about it.
I think we got your point.
Yeah. And my second request with respect, ma'am, my second request is, whenever some sort of ransomware attack happens, what the media do, they try to like put it image of Bitcoin, a symbol with a dollar sign, and they blame every ransomware or like attack with the cryptocurrencies, right? So the people should be made aware about that if we deal with virtual digital set, or if somebody is working on the blockchain. Every transaction.
I get your point. The media needs to be educated as well. I'm sure you have a list for media, but I'll connect with you on this one.
Every transaction is like traceable on blockchain. So what people think, अगर मैं बोलता हूँ घर पर कि like ransomware attack, वैसे ऐसा नहीं है, पहले नहीं होते थे, पहले भी होते थे. They deal with dollars. और अगर वो आज क्रिप्टो करेंसी में लाइक इथेरियम पर अगर वो बात कर रहे हैं, then इथेरियम ब्लॉकचेन, बिटकॉइन ब्लॉकचेन आर पब्लिकली एक्सेसिबल. So every transaction on cryptocurrency is traceable. That should be the purpose of the media, to put the right things on the right platform. My request to you,
Point
please.
taken. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, panelists, as well. I mean, this was a great conversation. I mean, as everybody said, this is the place to be. This is the future, and we've seen him give a complete example on how he's made his money and the reason he's on the stage as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that very candid, heartfelt, open conversation. Thank you, Manisha. And before I move ahead, a gentle reminder to scan the QR code to pre-register for Unfold 2023 and get exclusive access to discounted early bird tickets. Also, a small announcement from the Rajasthan government regarding the Rajasthan Mission 2030. Now, you all have an opportunity to contribute to some policy making and help the government know about your ideas and opinions. तो आपने अभी आखिरी सवाल जो पूछा, मैं आपका नाम नहीं सुन पाई थी, पर आपके पास एक ये बहुत बड़ा अच्छा मौका है कि जो आप गवर्नमेंट के सामने भी बात रखना चाह रहे हैं, वो आप इस माध्यम से रख सकते हैं. mission2030.rajasthan.gov.in. मैं एक बार फिर से रिपीट करती हूँ, mission2030.rajasthan.gov.in. September 15th लास्ट डेट है अपने suggestions को contribute करने के लिए, ideas, opinions, whatever you may have. And if you want to speak to the government about the Rajasthan Mission 2030 and what more can be done, please go ahead. And there'll be information on the website also about everything. So that was a special request from Ms. Srivastav. So everybody, please do that. mission2030.rajasthan.gov.in. All right. Now it's time for the final panel of the evening, titled The Next Frontier for Artists, Creators and Collectors. Now, as we all know, NFTs have opened up a fresh horizon for collectors and artists and investors alike, providing distinct chances for owning, earning from, and investing in digital creations. Although the digital art and collectibles market is relatively young, it's undeniable that NFTs will hold the power to revolutionize our perception of art, the value of art, rarity in this digital era. With technology growing and gaining wider recognition, it's captivating to watch the ongoing transformation and impact of NFTs on the realm of art and collectibles. And don't forget to check the NFT gallery that we have exclusively curated for you. And we thank Angad Sodhi for it. He's the artist, curator, co-founder, Colors of India, for curating this panel and this NFT gallery for us. So thank you, Angad, for that. Now, may I please invite the artist Manisha back on stage, who has also made her own NFT, for moderating this very special session. And along with her, please put your hands together for Amritpal Singh, visual artist, NFTs, Metaverse and Web3. Karan Kalra, multidisciplinary artist. Oh wow, that looks very fancy. Ishleen Kaur, visual artist and illustrator. Rohit Jalan, cosmic artist. And Ujjwal Agrawal, also known as color generative artist. Manisha, over to you.
Karan, I want those glasses. I want those glasses. Okay, wow. This is the artist panel. I mean, and this is going to be the most interesting one, I promise you. And we will talk the N-word openly here. Let's start with you then, man with the glasses. Tell us what the market is looking like right now. I mean, you are all artists who have embraced NFT. You've embraced Web3 quite openly. Tell us about your experience. I mean, that is the first thing we want to hear.
So far, I mean, it's been 2 years since I've been in the space, and the experience has been, I mean, it's a lot. A lot happens. We were discussing this earlier, that 2 years feels like 2 decades in this space. But the art space that exists right now because of the NFT space in India in the past 2 years is better than it's been for at least the past decade or more. There's just so much energy to create, to collaborate, and so many artists have emerged that weren't there before. So I think the space is just getting started. Because it's a little bit of a bear, and there are, it's shaking a lot of the, the people that showed up early just to get a little bit of the cash grab. But as the space matures, I feel like the art potential and the growth potential is immense.
Amrit, tell us how easy was it to do that? What has been the reach until now? And as NFT and blockchain promise that you will get a global audience, the markets will open up for you. How has it been for you?
So I'll just talk about my personal experience as an artist with NFTs. Currently, the market is down, but personally, it has kind of been one of the best years because I just did my solo show, and that was a multi-city solo show. Plus, a lot of traditional art collectors got interested in my NFTs. So personally, it's been good. And for me, from day one, it was straight that, okay, I'm you are buying my art to be part of my journey, and I'm a digital artist, so I create digital art, right? So that's all you can own. I never got into phygital because I thought it's compensating for me being a digital artist, right? If I do that approach. So for me, it was day one, I was doing digital art, and people were buying the NFTs just to be part of that journey. And a lot of them have still continued that. Plus, with doing this solo show, this entire first half of the year, I was able to convert a lot of traditional collectors getting interested in my art, and for a lot of them, they Holden Hussein or something, but that was their first NFT as well. So I'm kind of focusing on my journey as an artist, and NFTs is a way to sell my art, and that's how I'm taking it. Yeah.
Triple vibes. How's it been for you?
It's been great, and I remember I started doing NFTs when I was in my second year of college, and now I've graduated, and I can gladly say that I've learned more in the NFT space about visual arts than I have in my own college. So it's been great, and the kind of community that NFTs have brought together of artists, collectors, and enthusiasts is amazing. Everybody is so supportive, and you get to meet artists from all around the world, all kinds of artists, and that kind of is, for an artist, that is the best inspiration that you could get.
So when you got into it, what did people tell you? It's a great idea, you won't get anything, how will you make money out of this? Did you hear all those things?
I did, and actually when I started just learning about NFTs, I did not tell a lot of people. I told my mom and my brother after I sold my first NFTs because I just wanted to be sure. But sales or no sales, just the experience of creating and putting it out there in the crypto and the NFT world is a great experience in itself.
How's the community itself? I mean, is there a lot of support? Is there a lot of conversation?
Yes, actually Amrit was the first person who supported me and, you know, gave me all the information that I needed to get started. And then along with me, a lot of new artists kept joining in, and all of them were learning along with me. And the support is tremendous. Like, it's a great example of community over competition, and it's ever growing.
Rohit, what's your sense on this? I mean, we all understand about, you know, intellectual properties, royalties when they're sold out, sold again, that is. How has your experience been?
It has been really great. I think NFTs have solved a lot of problems with provenance. Anything that you mint on blockchain, its dates is recorded. So no one can tamper with it. And with that, I think it provides artists a lot of, how do you say, validation that, hey, this is my NFT, it's original artwork, no one can copy it now. But while we were in the Web2 world, anyone could copy it, anyone could just take it off and say just like, hey, here's my artwork, and just purchase it. So Web3 has definitely done that a great job. It's not there yet, but it's still progressing. And with that, I think it does definitely do a great job with that.
Check my mic first. I think it's full.
Why are you called Kala? Or is it Kala?
It's both. It's a sonic branding, basically. It's a sound. So it reminds you of Kala as an art. It reminds you of yesterday and tomorrow. So I work with a lot of time-based subjects also. It is also Kala. I play the flute and stuff. So yeah, it's a sonic branding. It is everything that it sounds like.
What has your experience been? We've seen a lot of people adopting that. How has Jaipur as a market been? I mean, we have seen a lot of names coming from here.
I just live here, but I'm not really connected to the community here, sorry. Yeah, but I'm just glued to my screen all the time. Louder? Okay, sorry. So I dropped 2 NFTs last year, and I went to London to do a master's in computational arts, and I paid all my fees in Ether. So it's been absolutely life-changing for me, this whole NFT space, and I'm going strong, yeah.
Hey, he paid his fees in Ethereum. How is that? Wow. Don't hear that too often. Talk to us also about, you know, on how the sales and after sales have been, because I know 2021 was a great year. 2020 is when we started that uprise going in. Last year wasn't so great. This year also we've seen global numbers great. Not so much for India though.
I think it's a healthy direction that we are taking, because there were a lot of scams in the past 2 years, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. There were a lot of hype around. I actually don't mind the monkey pictures so much, but there was a lot of hype around some really low effort art, and what I do is generative art. So we code to make art, and if I can just take a minute to explain how that works. So on the blockchain, when you buy an NFT,
you need to hold it slightly.
On the blockchain, when you buy an NFT, your wallet address goes into my algorithm, and it generates a unique piece for you, which is very different from a JPEG or a video as an NFT. So our code is a part of the smart contract. It is not an image, not a video at all. And then it renders the possibility of the NFT being a one-on-one piece. Like if you buy my NFT, you'll get a unique version than what Amrit would get. And you'll be the only one to have it. So it's this one-on-one connotation that really hyped up the generative scene. And I was amongst the few people who were doing it at that time, even in the world, if you look at it. Not few, but there were few of us, sort of, so to say. So yeah, we all flourished.
Are you annoyed by a lot of people just trying to create art? You know, I mean, I tried doing
Not
that as well.
all.
I mean, almost
Not
everybody
at
did
all.
try their hand at it.
I have a very funny theory. I think AI is going to make so many tasks automated for us in the future that art will be a salvation, you know. I think so. That we'll be sitting and making art, the future generations. We'll ideate through art. The science would come out of art. And art is going to change lives. Yeah, that's why I call myself a color.
Okay. You know, Amrit, I went to an art gallery in Bombay, and while there were a lot of paintings held and some statues as well, and then there was a big screen which was showing off NFT art, and I saw max people standing there trying to understand on how does it come to them, what do they need to do, how do they need to pay, can somebody else copy it, can people click picture, and what is the value of it? How would you explain all of that?
I mean, like, that's the most common question I get from collectors. Do you want me to explain it right now?
A quick one, you can give us a minute crash course.
Oh, okay. So basically how it works is like how you have a Paytm wallet, right? Like you can hold currency in it, you can hold a digital asset, and that's just how it is. For a lot of my traditional collectors, I help them with setting up a wallet and then transfer the asset. So, and I even like started selling my art NFTs in like an INR or fiat currency. So, you know, like these steps have to be taken, especially if you're dealing with traditional collectors, you know, they don't want to indulge in crypto. But again, like for me, NFTs has been more of an art thing, like, you know, so you can own the digital asset without actually buying crypto as well. So that is something not a lot of people understand. So I think that's that thing is up to the artist to, you know, really explain to the collector. With doing this, my show was in like different cities. So every city was a bit different. Like Bangalore, a lot of people knew about NFTs. They were more open to it. They understood it. But in Delhi, especially, like we had a lot of traditional galleries coming in, and they had a lot of questions around that. But, you know, like then I worked with my gallery assistant as well to just educate them. So.
You know, Karan, for the longest time, the conversation was that an artist has to go look for a gallery, work with people, pay. Now, the whole idea behind this was empowering the artist. Have you seen that happen?
Yes, I'm not a big fan of the traditional gallery system. There's the middleman, basically, having these, they take these 30-40% cuts in galleries. I've never been, even from the beginning, a fan of that. So NFTs was the salvation. When I saw that system, for me, that was the key. The fact that you cut out all these middlemen and you're focusing on the journey between the collector and the artist, and that's about it. You will see the piece, you buy it, and all the revenue, all the royalties, everything goes to the person who does the work, not somebody who puts on display. And, you know, on core concept, these galleries and everything else, the system was supposed to be good and support the artist, but nowadays it's not. It's all about gallery empowerment, PR, visuals, and everything like that. And I can say, like last year, there was a gallery that I put up a canvas. I presented a canvas of one of my pieces, and they said that we were going to put up for sale, and they're going to take 50%. And I said, it's not for sale. It's part of the show if you want it, but that's about it. And I'm definitely not okay with 50%. And then they said, no, thank you, and I walked away. And then a week later, they texted me back and said, you know what, just we'll put it up and we'll give it back to you. And I'm like, that's great, because finally the power is now in our hands. They want us there and not the other way around. I think that's just starting now. Like as the next year, 2 years, 3 years plays out, more galleries will be looking for the artist specifically, and the power is with them because they could just sell it online. They don't need them to that sale. And I think once that transition fully happens, and I think that's what they're afraid about too, is that once they get cut out, how do they stay relevant? And they're just not supposed to anymore, I think, in my opinion.
You want to add something?
Add this to, because, so like with my first 98 NFTs were sold by me online. But then the last, for the show, I collaborated with the gallery. And that's where I kind of saw the point of a gallery, for me at least, because they helped me put on a show, right? The production was taken care of them, the invite list, getting all the traditional collectors to the space. That's where they added the value. But that's the thing, I think that works only because I sold those 90 NFTs. Otherwise, galleries wouldn't have that approach with any digital artist, right? They would be like, let's put it on a website and see if it sells. And then it's like up to the artist to really sell it. But once you have a proven track record, they want to invest like as they invest in the traditional world. So that's really the only place where I saw like traditional galleries were making like a big impact. But when you're starting off, for a lot of artists, I would suggest just to go on your own, get your social game on and focus on that and sell your own stuff.
So since you've started it, Amit, let me just stay on with you on this and let me come to each one of you. What is, so you know, a lot of people here would want to get into an NFT or buy an NFT or see an NFT at least. I mean, I know, I'm sure a lot of people haven't even seen an NFT work of art there. So how would you suggest on these things? What would you see as an opportunity, as a challenge here? What would you advise a beginner?
Sure. So I'll start with like how artists can start. So first of all, if you're coming from a traditional background, right, then I think like one mistake I think a lot of traditional artists are doing is that they don't take it too seriously. I think they the medium of selling digital assets, they need to really like take it more seriously, understand there is a culture to it. NFTs has brought like a whole new set of collectors to the game, right? These are people like most of the NFTs are collected by people who have not collected traditional art. So you need to really get that. For that, you need to be online, you need to be present on Twitter, you need to be on Discord, understand what's the community like. Then you can sell art, right? What a lot of traditional artists are doing, they will be like, oh, we put out an NFT and let's see who buys it. That's not going to happen. Like, I've never seen that.
So is it a career choice? Is it like the place to be then?
I mean, like, especially for digital artists, because NFTs has been like a boon for digital art, right? Like, the only way to own a digital artwork was to print it. And you can't print an animated artwork anyway, right? So, like, I think once NFT came in the picture, digital artists really got empowered. And those were the first NFTs which were being sold, right? There is a whole phygital thing to NFTs also, that you buy the NFT, you get a physical painting, and that's great. But I think where it shines is digital art. Plus, like this whole day one, your art is being global, right? Imagine being a traditional artist and presenting your work in New York. That is going to take like an age, like 10 years, 20 years, and it might not happen. But for a lot of us, it happened in 1 year. Like, you know, like day one, I had like collectors from almost everywhere. Like my work has been showcased in 6 countries, and that's all because it's a digital format. So people like really need to understand if they want to go the digital route. Yeah.
Karan, what's your sense? What would you advise a beginner here? And what is there to, dig in from your experience on this one?
It's you know, it is a tricky market, and it's a growing, expanding and learning market. So I wouldn't advise anybody to commit to it as a full time, because that's just not how it works. When someone calls me an NFT artist, that's not the designation I go with, because you're an artist, and NFTs are like the way it's been for the past decade. You sell prints, you sell posters, you sell stickers, you sell all these things. NFTs are another avenue in a similar sense. So I think that any artist, and this is because it is flexible in how you tokenize whatever art you're making, it allows you to introduce any medium. So it's not just about the traditional canvases anymore. It could be digital art, it could be sculpture, it could be performance art, it could be anything that can be tokenized and sold. So I think every artist of any sort or any creator should be leveraging the power to expand where collectors can access and buy their work. I think this is one of those avenues. So if they look at it as an avenue and not as a career, I think it would end up being better in the long term.
Sabina, what's your sense?
So for beginners, I feel like they should take as much advantage of the community that we have in the NFT space, because the amount of learning that you can get here, not just to create artworks, but how to present them, how to cater to a global audience, that is a great opportunity for young artists. So that's somewhere you can start.
Right. We are still exchanging these.
Yeah. So I think the whole NFT community is amazing. How do you start? I think start by joining Twitter. That's the first thing I like you to do. If you make arts, join Twitter, join NFT groups, see what people do, learn from them, connect with people. That's the core of the whole NFT thing. Connect with fellow artists, connect with collectors, connect with like-minded people, and everything will follow. It's like a journey. It's a tricky journey, but it's a journey, and journey is the best part about it. So start with Twitter and everything will follow.
So basically, if you're an introvert, you can't create an NFT because you have to be out there to sell your art.
You have to talk about it. That's something that you have to do. And introverts can definitely talk about it. They don't have to show their face, but they can definitely DM someone. They can talk about it on Twitter. They don't have to show their faces. That's the whole thing about it, right? Karan doesn't show his face anywhere, but he's still
In fact, if you're an introvert, NFTs is the better solution. Yeah.
It's definitely the best thing. If you're an introvert, that's the best thing, because you don't have to manually be present somewhere in a museum or do an exhibition where you have to show up and talk about your art. You don't have to do that. The blockchain does everything for you. The platforms on the blockchain, they do everything for you. So it solves the problem.
The problem of plagiarization, do you think ends with NFTs?
It definitely...
Yeah, totally.
Just because you have the mic, you can't answer all the questions.
Yeah, I think so. That's why this whole technology is in place. I think NFT is a technology. It's not just a way of selling art. I think in the future I can sell my car as an NFT. It's just paperwork basically. So yeah.
You know, celebs and a lot of people, there are NFT platforms now. There is also a way to connect to your fans and your well-wishers on NFTs, on an NFT platform. How do you see that mechanism go?
Sorry, come again?
There are now NFT platforms. There are people or celebs giving limited signature NFTs to their fans. How do you see that mechanism work?
I've been very disconnected from that aspect of NFTs actually, the celebrity angle to it. So I don't know what they offer in return apart from just the pride of owning it, which is not bad. Which is not bad. If I were to own a Michael Jordan NFT, I would love to own it. But so there are two sides to it. It's easy for all these celebrities to get into the NFT space and start selling their name. But people like us who started from the ground and made a name for ourselves using NFTs is I think the biggest story here.
They perhaps market it for you. I mean, they just keep the word out perhaps.
Yeah.
Okay, now let me come to each one of you with the challenge. You've told us on what is the great thing here and what can beginners get from you. What was the challenge here which needs to be worked upon? And are you making money out of this?
I think we should learn to code.
We should learn to?
Code. Yeah. That's the way forward. You could be a blockchain developer, you could be a generative artist, but if you can code, your future is bright. And that's where it lies.
All right, that's a lot of work now. Code, you need to learn to code. Talk to us also about on how this thing is working for you right now. Is money being made? Is it the only thing that you can perhaps do? Coding, I'm sure not all of the artists are going to do here, but how would it work? What is the challenge here?
No, so I personally work with JavaScript. That's my medium of expression. So apart from NFTs, I also indulge in making fancy websites and stuff for clients. So I make some money there also. But last year was really good for me as an NFT artist. This year I've not even tried. It has been just so bad, and maybe I've not had an idea so far. I did a solo show at the same gallery that Amrit also did. I made a clock, and no, I just want to say that this whole gallery experience was great. You know, just to interact with people personally, physically, with kids who are seeing your pieces, who are not going to buy your piece, but they're going to come and play with it. That gallery aspect is very important. I think we should not deny that.
Undermine.
Yeah.
Okay. Rohit, what's your sense? What is the challenge here that needs to be worked about? I mean, is regulatory an aspect really? Is it about money? Is it about reaching out to people? Is it about creating awareness? What is it?
For me, it has been marketing. It's nothing more than marketing. Because as an NFT artist, it's not just about creating art. You have to also sell it. You have to also market it to the right audience. And if you don't know how to market it, it will remain unsold for years. So learning how to market, learning how to talk about it, telling the story is the essential part. So I make cosmic art, right? It's not understood by everyone. So I have to tell everyone, why do I do it? What's the theme and the story behind it? What's the purpose behind it? So I think marketing has to be done. It has to be learned. And for me, that's the biggest challenge.
Talk to me also about the pricing of it. A lot of people do not understand on once they've created an NFT on how to price it. I mean, this is something that we've debated earlier as well.
I think that's quite controversial. The reason being, you can't price an art. Only an artist can. How much effort they have put into it. What feeling they have poured into the art. You can never price an art piece. Like as a collector, you never know what's the price an artist is going to list it. Because you never know how much effort has he put into. So that's something only an artist can do. And the thing that you're talking about is price. I think that reflects more on the PFP side projects, the BAYCs and all of that. But for one-on-one artists like all of us here, I don't think so that applies anywhere because we pour our heart and soul and no one can price that.
Whoa. A piece of art, an artist decides or a buyer decides?
Unfortunately, I think it's the buyer right now. But it's maybe more power to us in the future, yeah.
Challenges?
Challenges. So like the biggest challenge this year has been, of course, the negative PR against NFTs. Plus, like also, like I've had decent success last 2 years, and this year has been challenging for the market. So just to navigate and understand how I want to position myself as an artist and also figuring out, like how to leverage this whole NFT thing into just being an artist, not just an NFT artist, right? That's why the whole gallery thing, that's why a lot of physical appearances. This is my second panel in last 3 years. I've always said no. So, so that's why I'm kind of doing this, because I want to understand what all can be done. So I think that was the biggest challenge. Monetary-wise, it's been pretty good, so no complaints there.
There's always this thing about the resale, the secondary market, which always has been a bit of a...
Sure. Just before the resale, I just want to talk about the pricing bit, because I mean, something actionable would be good, right, for anybody wondering how to price their artwork. So at least for me, what I did was, like, I did a lot of research on, like, artists with kind of like same standing as me, how they were positioning their art, what kind of like niche I'm going through. Is it like a big niche, or is it like a very specific thing, only handful of collectors would be interested? So for me, it was like, okay, I saw like, okay, this kind of art, he's like, similar caliber as me. They are selling it for that much. That's how I kind of started. And then, of course, the collector making the bids and everything, then it established a price for my art. So I think I started with that. And what was the
secondary market for NFTs?
Yeah, so with the so secondary market is like a more of a PFP thing, where because like flips are very instant, whereas one-on-one artists, they know that, okay, their values are not going like changing like a Bored Ape project or something, right? But what I've noticed is like, so for me, like my one-on-ones are priced at like around 3 ETH. So they don't move that easily in secondary sales, because people want like 6 ETH. That's not going to happen too soon. And once they got a bid, like actually they didn't accept it. So I was quite shocked. I wanted them to accept it and be like, I can say I sold something in the secondary for 6 ETH, but that didn't happen. But what I noticed when I was doing editions, it's a more pocket-friendly price point, so 0.3 ETH. That's where a lot of trading did happen. And even during this whole down market, it has been going decent. I won't say it's been like a lot of secondary sales, but it's going, because people, especially people who are trying to get out of crypto right now, they would like sell it for cheaper than people who wanted to own my artwork. They get in. So it has been happening a lot, and that's interesting. I still get royalty, so that's great. Yeah.
Karan, when we look at India, is there a geography that does better than the other? I mean, is it like the metros who understand NFT better or buy NFT better?
No, I think it's pretty much the whole country. Wherever there is somebody who is interested in it, there's avenues for them to explore and figure out. There's no certain place that has a higher or lower, because a lot of the NFT space isn't geography based. So like you wouldn't be able to tell. A lot of us know each other, so we kind of know where we're from. But if you were to meet a lot of the people that I know in the space and are friends, I don't know where they live. They don't know where I live. So that whole aspect's just gone. You are now a citizen of the internet. You exist on the blockchain, and you're creating on the blockchain. And you can be talking to people. Like I have friends in Japan, in New York, in London, who and I've met some of them as well in IRL events. So that whole aspect changed. But India, in general, right now, I guess, sure, metro cities are a little bit more ahead on this, but I am hearing a lot of, over the past year and a half, 2 years, I've been seeing a lot of people trying to do outreach to local artists in smaller towns to introduce them. The onboarding is the challenge, right? Like, how do you introduce somebody to the technology? And blockchain in general, it's supposed to remove the middleman, it's supposed to remove the bank and make you your own financial system, but that means that you remove those safeguards that they've also put in. So you have to take that security onto yourself. But a lot of that safety has to be taught. And the people who are being onboarded to technology in general, which has been happening over the past 5 years, they need to be brought in and really properly taught not only how the blockchain works, but how to protect yourself in the space, because you are responsible for your own thing. So a lot of that is blocking some of the smaller cities from getting into it, but I think that won't, again, last for too long. Within a year, 2 years, 3 years, you're going to see a lot more knowledge. Even if you look at India now, where it was 5 years ago, with Geo and everything that showed up, the internet usage has shot up. So it's just a matter of time before the knowledge on the blockchain also starts spreading around enough, and especially with now the government also getting into it, that it's just a matter of time before people are a little bit more safe about it, and then you're going to see artists and talent emerging from every corner of the world, from the country, with no limits.
Okay. So, I want to quickly do a fireside, just one word. Where do you see NFT art in next 5 years?
Yeah, I think it will be dissociated from the word art, and NFTs would become a way to transact for other things also.
Okay.
To the moon. To the moon.
I'd say still evolving and dynamic.
Okay.
Because it's ever growing, you know.
Yeah, I agree. This maturing. I think it's going to take 5-10 years for it to really.
Would it be settled? Would it be still?
Crypto in general is not a settled industry right now, and it's going to take a while for the whole thing to kind of come down. And there is a lot of volatility, so it will not be settled.
Okay.
But I think that's part of the package. You're in here because of the unexpected nature
But
of
you
the
think
space.
you make it a good choice?
Yeah, 100%. I have, the kind of stuff we've seen the past 2 years, the friends.
Yeah, I think I'm getting used to the unsettling for sure. And just to add to that little conversation about which cities, right? What I thought was interesting was one of my biggest collectors is in Jaipur, and then another collector is in Jammu, which was these are not crypto hub, right? That collector is sitting in the audience, by the way, the Jaipur one. But just saying, it's been very surprising. A lot of the small cities have some really big collectors as well.
All right, yay, Jaipur. Okay, do you also think NFTs would become a big part of metaverse? Yes, no?
Sorry?
You think NFTs would become a big part in metaverse?
Yeah, I mean, so metaverse is, honestly, right now,
I might buy a house in metaverse. I might buy a painting.
Yeah, so I think definitely if metaverse, whenever it happens, especially, I think we still need an application like that Apple Vision or something, right, to really immerse ourselves in the metaverse, to live that digital life. But once it happens, actually, NFTs is the best way to trade those assets, right?
More use cases rather than art? How do you see it?
I think still art will digital art still I think NFTs would be the best way to trade it, and use cases for sure, even for an artist to have utilities like you were mentioning, celebrities access to, right? For example, Gary, we did this whole thing where certain people of who owned one of his expensive ones would get a one-on-one FaceTime with him, right? So a lot of that ends up being a utility. So yeah.
Right, so it's an ever evolving. In the next 5 years also, these guys do not expect to be settled onto this one, but this is the place going on there. हम एक दो questions ले सकते हैं अगर आपको NFTs, art, music के बारे में कुछ पूछना हो. No, I think everybody's tired and everybody's hungry now. All right. That's not even an NFT question.
Yeah, so I'm technically called an undoxed artist, which means my face is in public. People who know me have seen my face, but in public, cameras, etc., I keep my face guarded. There's a lot of layers to this, and in the space specifically, there are a lot of artists, as we said, who are operating by names, taglines. You have people like Xcopy, who are massive artists who we don't really exactly know, or not a lot of the people know what their faces look like, because they're operating solely on their art and their name of that art. So I think for me, the reason I do it is there's a few different reasons. The Japanese believe that every time you take a photograph, you take a little bit of your soul and all that stuff, but it's more about controlling the information I'm putting out. For me, what's most important about what I'm putting on the internet is my work. My face isn't important, my name, I guess, a little bit, but most of it is the work. So for that, I control this as much as possible. Plus, in today's day and age.
Thank you, panelists. Really appreciate your knowledge sharing here with us. And there's just so much to talk about NFTs. I'm glad you're part of this here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In fact, once this pitch is done, may I actually request all the panelists and Manisha to please stay back, and all the other panelists also to come and join her on the stage for a photo op. That would be nice. Thank you. Thank you so much, all the panelists. Thank you. Thank you, audience. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a wonderful evening full of very informative sessions. And with that, we bring to close Namaste Web3 Jaipur edition. Hope you have joined the Telegram channel, Namaste Web3 Movement. Those of you who have missed it, we'll flash the QR code one last time so you can scan it. There you go. The ones who have missed it, please quickly scan it. And thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. Now you can join us for dinner. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening and a very good night.